Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, the Blitz.
It is a football Friday here on the Blitz. Welcome in. I'm Jason Minix on San Antonio Sports Star at ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. Right, Hero Stadium, our Hill Electric high school game of the week tonight should be electric. Undefeated Johnson, undefeated Brandeis in a district game. It's got Pledge dancing all over the place. James Pledger producing as always. And what has become too much of a habit where you show up for work without sleeves on a Friday. Now, I saw you at the bar last night, left you at the bar last night, and you look like you just rolled in from said bar last night, just throwing on a tank and coming into work. Did you even make it home?
I think I was in bed at some point last night.
Maybe, sorta. You sure?
There was.
I'm a little worried about you.
My eyes were closed when I hit the pillow.
This is what we should do before the show, but I really wasn't paying attention to the screen till I just saw you. Good Lord, man, you all right?
I'm good.
All right, I'm just making sure, man. Yeah, I'm just making sure because when I left you last night, you were saying this is why we can't have nice things. After the Houston Texans had a pretty nice drive, got a touchdown, and then missed an extra point. Because I left the Roo Pub at halftime. And I'm guessing you did not. And the way that second half went, while David Coley was conservative, I'm guessing you weren't with your shot ordering.
Well, my team forces me to drink, so the second half was just indicative of that.
Yeah, well, and again, I don't understand some of David Coley's coaching. I like David Coley. I want him to be successful. Dude, your team sucks. Your team sucks. You know your team sucks. You know You've got to be aggressive to win. You get on the other side of the 50 and it's 4th and 4. Don't punt. Maybe I've been listening to too many analytics coaches. Eric Morris over at UIW. There's no way Eric Morris would have punted in that situation.
Oh, absolutely not.
Mike McCarthy wouldn't have punted in that situation. I don't know many coaches that would have punted in that situation.
See, in my opinion, the Texans did exactly what I think they planned on doing. They showed just enough, but they did the things they had to make sure that they were going to lose, like punt on 4th and 4 from their own 38.
No, I mean, you can tell yourself that if it makes you feel better. If it makes you feel better, Rudy Campos says they are better than the Falcons. I need a new team. Well, you might need a new team. I don't know if the Falcons are better than the Texans or the Texans are better than the Falcons. I know the Falcons at least have a quarterback. And if you got a quarterback, you could win some games. They even have a good wide receiver. But the Texans play all right, man. It's weird. Maybe I just feel sorry for them. You know, but they're playing so much better than I thought they would, yet they're handcuffed. I mean, when you're punting on 4th and 4 from your own 38-yard line, your coach is saying, I've got zero confidence in our offensive line to pick up 4 yards, our offensive coordinator to draw up a play that can get us 4 yards. We've kind of stopped them, but we kind of haven't. But, on this drive that's going to set the tone, I'm going to punt them deep, pin them back, make them punt because our defense is playing good. We'll get the ball back in good field position. Yeah, they go right down and score, game over. I mean, essentially, that's how it worked out. Because that's what Murphy's Law says. You punt on 4th and 4 from their 38-yard line, they're going to march right down the field and score. And, half a peace sign to you, man. I mean, that's exactly what they did. Interesting game last night. We'll talk about it. And inadvertently, and again, I'm sort of in a room with 2 Texans fans. I got Greg Shelton literally sitting right here, and I can't make fun of him because he brought lunch. So I've got to be nice to Greg Shelton.
He's the antithesis of me as a fan.
And he paid for lunch, too, which is interesting. Yeah, we'll get into that. I want to get – so he's here, and we're kind of in the same room, or at least sharing a screen, even though you're back at the studio. I just look at that, and I got to say, not only did the Texans lose the game, And they look good in losing, though. It's not like they embarrassed themselves, except for David Culley for punting on 4th and 4. I think I'd rather him decline a penalty and punt instead of putting the offense back out there. But at least I know where his mindset is. But inadvertently, you guys helped out the Dallas Cowboys. And I know for Houston Texans fans, for real diehard Houston Texans fans, that pisses you off more than losing the game last night. That in a way, you have helped out the Dallas Cowboys because Christian McCaffrey got hurt playing against you, and now more than likely isn't going to play next week against the Dallas Cowboys.
And J.C. Horn.
And J.C. Horn hurt, broke his foot. Well, he's done, at least for a while. He won't be playing against the Cowboys. There was a lot of injuries in that game last night.
There was.
A lot of injuries on both sides, but you guys played a role in making it easier for the Cowboys to beat the Carolina Panthers next week. See, if you remember yesterday, I'm looking at the Panthers schedule, and while I'm a Cowboy homer, I'm realistic. I was very worried about the game next week for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, now, not so much. Now, it's why you don't make a bet 2 weeks out, because 2 weeks out,
it's a long time.
I might have been leaning Carolina after what I saw them do to the Saints, and we're going to see what they're doing here, and just Christian McCaffrey, right? Chuba Hubbard doesn't scare me. Thank you to the Houston Texans for taking out Christian McCaffrey. I know a lot of people were pissed last night that he got hurt, but they were just mad for fantasy reasons.
Yeah, same.
Because
I'm one of them.
He did nothing.
Apparently, it's the curse of Rob Thompson. I found out today.
Oh, really? Why is that?
Because Rob Thompson has him in multiple leagues.
Does he really?
Mm-hmm.
And Zeke? He's got them both?
He's got them both. The curse of Rob Thompson.
I'm in many leagues with him. I like taking Rob Thompson's money. And the sad thing is he doesn't even need the bad luck to lose in fantasy. I mean, it just happens naturally. So I look at that, but to have Zeke and get none yards in the one game and, and then to lose CMC and what you would have thought would have been a big game statistically for him, both in receiving yards and in rushing yards. My worry with him, because I was looking at Underdog Fantasy and seeing where his line was, and I'm so glad I didn't make that play.
Mm-hmm.
You and I were talking about it yesterday. I was worried that the Carolina Panthers would get up too big on Houston and just pull them. Yeah, it's almost like some of these high school games where you see backups in by the second quarter, late second quarter, definitely third quarter. I thought we might get a little rest game for CMC. Turns out he got a lot of rest, but not for the reasons Matt Rule was hoping for.
And I was on the other side of the fence. I thought he was going to go straight up Nick Chubb on the Texans and get his over in the first half.
He could have, but that's why they play the game. And again, the Texans didn't embarrass themselves. They did just enough to play a boring ass football game, but keep you from turning the channel. I mean, at one point in the game last night, because we got home in the second half, and my wife was like, we still got to catch up on Ted Lasso. I think I'm now like 3 episodes behind on Ted Lasso.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, it's been busy.
It's so good. I just figured you were staying on top of it.
No. No. It's all or nothing. And that's the weird thing about like Ted Lasso. I can't watch just one episode. It pisses me off now because when I like regular TV, you get an episode and that's all you get, unless you've got several in the DVR and you binge it. But when I'm watching streaming television, like on Netflix, and I might say I'm only going to watch 2 episodes or 3 episodes, and at 3 a.m. it's asked me twice if I'm still watching, because that's the way streaming TV has taught me to be. So if I go, when they drop the new Ted Lasso on Tuesday and try to go watch it on Tuesday, half hour later, I'm mad that there's not another one to watch. So I think I need at least 3 or 4 in a row because it's not appointment television. You see what I'm saying? So I wish Apple would just throw the whole season up there and let me watch it at my leisure.
See,
I don't like them making me wait.
I'm glad that I grew up being able to have to wait week to week for something like that, because I've never gotten into the streaming, mainly because I don't have the time to binge watch an entire episode. And I love that Disney Plus is releasing their things 1 week at a time and not dumping it all at once. See, I'm on the complete other end of the spectrum.
Well, no, see, like on my TV, what shows up on my DVR. So apparently this must have been the new week for all the new shows to get released, because my DVR now has like all the Chicagos, Fire Med, PD. They all showed up this week.
Parks and Rangers.
FBI has showed up. Apparently they've got a new one too, international, but there's like 3 new FBIs and NCIS Hawaii. All these things showed up on my DVR. I'm okay watching those once a week. Turn them on. They'll kill an hour and you go from there. But the Netflix shows or the Ted Lasso type stuff, you know, I kind of like, I like watching those in binge. And it's only 30 minutes. So, you know, getting there. But I'm behind on Ted Lasso. I mean, you have no idea.
But
I have no idea where I was going with that, by the way. You got me sidetracked down a rabbit hole. Where were we going before we started talking about Ted Lasso?
Oh, we were talking about Bo Porter. I mean, David Culley and the Texans. So obviously we got off track.
Yeah, we're not allowed to talk Texans.
Yeah, I'm aware.
No, I mean, and what's the point? I mean, really, what is the point? Oh, that's right. So it was so bad last night. Joanna wanted to watch and catch up on Ted Lasso. And I said, no, let's hang in there in case it gets good. You know, you never turn a game off early for obvious reasons. Except the Texans, you probably could get away with it.
I think you can.
But they kept it interesting. It was an ugly football game. And it got boring in the second half. But I kind of like what I'm seeing out of Davis Mills. I was impressed with what I saw out of Davis Mills. There is something there for the Houston Texans to work with over the next couple of weeks. Although the defenses the Texans are going to play in the next couple of weeks might make you change your mind. But he showed enough natural instincts and toughness that I do think the Texans have a workable quarterback moving forward on that one game. He looked prepared. He looked comfortable. Bad plays did not send him spiraling out of control. I liked the demeanor that I saw from Davis Mills last night.
I did too. I'm worried about the way they're treating him with kid gloves, it seemed, in that game. He was 3 of 4 for 16 yards up until that final drive of the first half when he finally had a touchdown drive. So it feels like they're really trying to rein him back and limit his opportunities to where, but by doing that, they could really put themselves in a hole and put him in a bad position to where he has to throw and then he's going to get exposed very easily later in games.
You're looking for the negatives. I mean, you don't like the kid, so you're going to find everything you can to be negative
Davis
about
Mills.
him. You don't love Davis Mills. You wouldn't even recognize him if he was standing next to you in CVS. I mean, tell me you love the guy. You love everybody that plays for the Texans till they leave, and then you talk trash about him. I mean, that's
Stanford, smart kid.
Who?
Stanford, smart kid.
Yeah, well, I mean, good. I'm glad he went to Stanford. That doesn't mean he's smart. I mean, it really doesn't. I mean, he was a good quarterback and it got pushed through, but he looked like a smart quarterback. He sounds like a smart quarterback, good demeanor, but who cares if they were bringing him along slowly and being conservative? They should do that. I mean, that's for his safety, for the safety of the team. But he showed last night that he belongs in the NFL. I mean, he certainly looked a hell of a lot better than Ben DiNucci did a year ago. I mean, that guy looked like, I mean, we've seen a lot of quarterbacks completely wet themselves in an NFL game.
Jeff Driscoll.
Davis Mills did not do that. Davis Mills did not do that. Well, one day I'll get his name right. He's too country club, though, for the Houston Texans. I mean, that's too much of a country club kind of name.
I don't know. Does he fit the Jack Easterby mold?
I don't know.
Aren't they leaning country club there? No.
Well, I mean, you know, they're all a bunch of rich dudes, but I mean, you know, really. And then, honestly, because of Bertans, I always want to call him Davis, and I realize that's only reserved for one guy who plays in the NBA. That has nothing to do with Davis Mills, but I want to call him Davis Mills. Every time I see that, I want to call him Davis Mills. Interesting game to kick off the NFL weekend when you think about the Texans on Thursday night. Probably the only time they'll get that much national exposure, and that talked about until, of course, they trade Deshaun Watson. Now, there's an interesting story about Deshaun Watson and the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins owner apparently wants to do the trade. Be damned with 22 assault charges that he's facing. He doesn't care about that. He just wants to get a deal done and get Deshaun Watson in Miami. Problem is, he doesn't want to pay the asking price that the Texans want, which is 3 1s and a couple of 2s. You look at it, Deshaun Watson's value is going to be what it is. I looked at Miami's last couple of first-round picks, Tua being the best of them, and we see how that's working out for the Dolphins. So we've seen what you've done with your first-round picks, Miami. Why not give up those 3 1s that the Texans are asking for a sure thing in Deshaun Watson, assuming he's not in jail? I mean, when you look at those 3 first-round picks and you look at the last 3 first-round picks of the Miami Dolphins and tell me what superstars are on there, you know what you're getting in Deshaun Watson. Again, caveat, he's not in jail. Why wouldn't you give those up if that's the quarterback you want? It's the same mindset that Jerry Jones had a couple of years ago when it was trade for Amari Cooper. We know what we're getting and give up that first-round pick. He became the first-round pick, and he certainly has played probably better than anybody that the Cowboys would have taken if they would have kept that pick and not made that trade. So if Miami's owner is that hell-bent on getting Deshaun Watson, quit trying to get the discount. You know what the asking price is. Clearly, the Texans aren't budging on that asking price, or he would already be in Miami. If Miami really wants him that bad, I don't know why they just don't end up pulling the trigger. You can negotiate to a certain point, but then there's a deadline. And you look at a Dolphins team where Tua gets hurt last week. They bring in Jacoby Brissett, who's not a bad quarterback, and promptly get beat 35-0. I mean, in the NFL, it's hard to get beat 35-0. The Dolphins did it. That should be enough, I would think, to get a trade deal done for Deshaun Watson and the Miami Dolphins. I know he's got the legal issues he's got to hang out there, but according to Pro Football Talk and several other reports, the Miami owner does not give a damn about the offseason, off-field baggage that Deshaun Watson's going to bring with him to South Beach. It doesn't. He wants a quarterback that can go out there and help him win football games. If that's the case, give up those 3 number 1s. Look at your previous first-round draft picks and tell me, any of them going to be close to what Deshaun Watson is going to deliver to you, assuming he's not in jail? The answer is no. Pull the trigger and get it done and get that part of the thing done for the Houston Texans and let both teams rebuild. You good with that, Pledge?
Absolutely. I don't understand the importance placed on these first-round picks. Like you said, you looked at what they drafted, whether it was Tua or Ibanoji, the cornerback out of Auburn this past year. They drafted an offensive lineman that hasn't really panned out of UFC. I look at it as, why wouldn't you? And plus, if you have Deshaun, you're likely going to be picking later in the first round anyway. So what's the point of holding on to him unless you truly are just concerned that there is more to this story when it involves Deshaun and the allegations and his actual availability to play, not just due to a suspension, but because he may end up going to jail at some point.
And I doubt that he'll ever end up in jail. Ultimately, he's going to pay a whole lot of money, and this is all going to go away. And it's probably going to happen about the time he gets to a new team. That's how that stuff works. Now, I got to ask you a question.
Sure.
You're a Texans fan. Greg Shelton, you're a Texans fan. Do you hate Deshaun Watson?
No.
Greg Shelton says no. Pledge, do you hate Deshaun Watson?
No.
All right. So BetOnline has I don't even know what it's a thing that they tweeted out. They did some research. They tracked Twitter data for over a month, over 130,000 tweets based on geotags, hashtags, and direct keyword associations related to fans' disdain for NFL players. The interesting thing when you're trying to find out the most hated players in the NFL and what states how many states they have and what states they are, Tom Brady, according to this, is the most hated player in the NFL in 36 states. His teammate Antonio Brown is second on the list. He's the most hated in 6 states. Aaron Rodgers claims 4 states, including Illinois. Baker Mayfield is the most hated in 2 states. Jameis Winston is the most hated player from the state of Florida. And the most hated player in the state of Texas is Deshaun Watson. Now, it's Twitter data. It's what they put out. I don't agree with it. Because most Texans fans I know, both of you, don't seem to be upset with Deshaun Watson. In fact, understand why he wanted out when you traded his favorite wide receiver for a bag of chips and let DeAndre Hopkins walk, and then everybody else is leaving, even though he signed that big contract. He decided he wanted out. That was before we knew he was a creep on a massage table. Everybody understood. Yeah, go win somewhere. It's just not going to be here. Nobody dude, I'd get off that boat too. I mean, it's a sinking ship. You get a life raft, end up in Miami on South Beach. And now all the creepy stuff, most people just yeah, all right, all right, kind of gross. You're weird. Behind closed door stuff on the football field. If he were to say, you know what, I want to play again, and I want to play for the Texans, if you call David Culley right now, and Jack Easterby, and probably Jack Easterby first, and Nick Caserio, and then maybe Cal, although, I don't know, Cal, it's ridiculous, and said he wanted to play again, I have no doubt in my mind he would be out there first-string quarterback tomorrow if he made that call. He has not made that call, and he's not going to make that call. But I just thought that was pretty interesting when I read that from Bet Online going, Deshaun Watson being the most hated? I just don't see it. I really don't see it. I find it interesting, but that's what their Twitter data shows. And the fact that Tom Brady is hated by so many, which is interesting. I thought Aaron Rodgers would own a few more states. See, Aaron Rodgers is going to see that, get all surly, and try to get to 9, 12, 13 states, because 4 states just isn't enough for Aaron Rodgers to be hated in. I mean, that's just all division rival stuff. Interesting. Coming up here on the Blitz, we've got a lot to get into. I've lost internet here in the studio, whatever we call this, the booth. Pledge, yep. Just so you know, I can't. Nothing's refreshing.
Not a problem. Well, I'm just letting you know we got a phone call then.
Okay, yeah. Who do we got?
Gary on line 1 about Deshaun Watson and whether he should be hated or not.
All right, I get you, Gary. You're on the Blitz, president of the Deshaun Watson fan club. What can you do for me?
Absolutely not. Okay, all right. I always thought hate's a really strong word. Now, I don't hate Deshaun Watson, but I don't like him at all because he just doesn't care. He didn't care about the situation he got himself in. He doesn't care about the team enough to keep himself out of that controversy. He just took the money and decided, well, screw it, I don't want to be here, so I'm just going to be a first-class butthole. And if you don't like it, screw you.
You know, Gary, couple things to unpack there. Did you like Deshaun Watson before? Okay, Gary's gone. Because that's the thing. If you like Deshaun before, and let's face it, everybody did when things were good. When he decided he wanted out, I think a lot of people understood, him wanting out after the D-Hop trade. Even though he signed that contract and Bill O'Brien was still there and Easterby and all that was still there, he signed that big contract. Then you start hearing about massage therapists. And I admit, the first one I heard, second one I heard, third one I heard was like, you're finding your therapist on Instagram. That's your first red flag. And I'm not saying it's a green light, but If you're reaching out on Instagram to find a massage therapist and you're an NFL player and have access to whatever you need from the team, your expectations for that massage are probably a little bit more than deep tissue, right? But then when you hear about some of the stuff and you start reading about it, yeah, there's a lot more there to it. It's creepy. It is what it is, you know. And so if you don't like him, or do you not like him because he's not playing for you this year? Like if he was out there, and when I say hate, I think we always have to couch that as sports hate, which is very different than hate, because you could sports hate a lot of people and a lot of things, but that's different than hate, right? You know, Gary, I mean, there is a difference there. And I think a lot of people sports hate what's going on, that the best quarterback in the building right now for the Texans is on the depth chart and inactive because they can't move him, which is interesting. You look, though, that contract doesn't mean squat. All Deshaun Watson is doing right now is what he's seeing those NBA guys do. Sign big money contracts and then force their way out. Mm-hmm. Contract be damned. I mean, you see it right now going on with Ben Simmons, where he's going to end up. It's a very volatile situation there. A lot of negative up there. John Wall in Houston, you know, they're cordially working together to try to get some things worked out. Zion on his rookie deal, all kinds of issues with Zion and the Pelicans. Yet I'm not going to be surprised if he signs a max deal, and then still not be surprised if he signs that deal and then forces his way out. That's just the way the sports world is working right now. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. As we continue here on the Blitz, coming up at 5 o'clock, we'll talk with Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Aggies, as the Aggies get ready to take on Arkansas next week, tomorrow, like the next day, tomorrow. The Aggies and Razorbacks coming up tomorrow. Jon Machota from The Athletic, he will join us at 5:30 to talk Cowboys and Eagles on Monday night. Coming up next, though, our buddy Don Harris from News 4 will join us. We'll probably ask him a little bit about the Pelicans and the Spurs. Spurs make big news today. Big front office announcement. Manu is back with the team. It was just like a sentence in a big old long press release with promotions and new additions to the Spurs basketball staff. But Don Harris has put together a great thing for the San Antonio Sports Hall of Fame. Normally a major event in person. It's going to be a televised event this year. We'll talk about it with Don as we continue here on the Blitz. It is a Friday. A lot of you have weekend plans. I'm guessing none of you plan on getting arrested, but some of you will. And maybe it's not you, but you get a phone call from a family member or friend that you got arrested or they got arrested. You need to help them get out of jail. You want to get out of jail. You know the best way to do that is to call my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds. 210-225-2121 is the phone number. You can text the word bail to 474747 or even start the bonding process online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else to get out of jail, and you don't want to be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, make sure you truly understand what all those conditions are before accepting it. Your best option is AA Best Bail Bonds because nobody beats their price. They have payment plans available, offer a free shuttle service. They're discreet and confidential and open 24/7 with offices all over San Antonio and Texas, services nationwide. License number 149. For stress-free bail bonds, it's AA Best Bail Bonds. Text them. 474747. Text the word bail to that. You can call 210-225-2121 or go online, mybestbailbonds.com. Here's Blitz with SportsCenter. I almost forgot.
Well, Jason, the Cowboys continue to get hit along the defensive line, as today it was reported that defensive end Bradley Anae was added to the reserve COVID-19 list today and will likely miss Monday's game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Dallas will now be without Anae, Carlos Watkins, Dorrance Armstrong, Neville Gallimore, DeMarcus Lawrence, Tristan Hill, who are all out with different ailments along that defensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles game. The Texans start the season 1-2 after dropping their Thursday night game to the Carolina Panthers 24-9 last night. Rookie quarterback Davis Mills in his first ever start, was 19 of 28 for 168 yards, a touchdown, with Brandon Cooks going off for 112 yards and 9 catches. In college football tomorrow, the 2-1 Texas Longhorns welcome the 3-0 Texas Tech Bears into Austin for an 11 o'clock kick on ABC. Also at 11, 2-1 Incarnate Word will take on McNeese State. The 7th-ranked Texas A&M Aggies go to Jerry World to take on 16th-ranked Arkansas. You can catch that game over on our brother station, 550 KTSA and FM 107.1. I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Hey, Cowboy fans, Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys at San Antonio Sports Star. We're throwing a big watch party for the Monday night game between the Cowboys and Eagles at I-10 Ice House. We'll start with a live broadcast of the Blitz starting at 4, and then watch the Cowboys take on the Eagles. Hourly drawings from 4 to 7 to win Cowboy game tickets, a Miller Lite Cowboys OtterBox cooler, Drew Pearson Hall of Fame standee, and other great prizes. And enjoy Miller Lite and Long Necks during the game for just $2.08. That's Monday at 4 at the I-10 Ice House.
Dog Pound Championship Wrestling proudly presents Strictly Business, live this Saturday at the historic Woodlawn Gym. Don't miss Max Castellanos, Andre Law, and former WWE superstar Rodney Mack versus Frank Stone and current Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions, Soldiers of Savagery. And then the open contract Battle Royale. You can also meet former WWE Women's Champion and wrestling legend Jazz. GA tickets just $10 at the door, with $20 VIP tickets also available. Dog Pound Championship Wrestling Strictly Business, live this Saturday at the historic Woodlawn Gym.
According to TxDOT, on average, one motorcyclist dies every day on Texas roads. If you or a loved one were injured in a motorcycle crash, call Thomas J. Henry. To learn more or start your claim today, visit tjhlaw.com/radio. San Antonio, Texas.
Injuries happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries and has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available. There is no reason to be in pain. If you are hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Learn more at TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com, or schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490. You can talk keto all you want, but if you don't have a team of great tasting snacks behind you, you're not going to win the diet marathon. Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds have these big, bold flavors that kick your taste buds into high gear. Korean kimchi barbecue, pasilla chili cheese, spicy dill, and more. Eat them right out of the bag or try them in your favorite recipes. You'll love this snack. Visit your local H-E-B and southernrecipesmallbatch.com to see the power of the rinds.
Southern Recipe pork rinds.
At CDW, we get that a cyborg assistant won't make your employees more productive from home.
Please, call me Brian. I can vacuum your dog.
That's great. But at CDW, we can design a productivity solution with Lenovo devices that offer fast, reliable connectivity to help your people manage their workloads the right way.
Can I have a human hug?
No. For technology that moves you forward, trust Lenovo and IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it. Learn more at cdw.com/Lenovo client.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
New school, new job, new home. Change is hard and can leave you feeling isolated. And divorce delivers one of life's hardest blows. The relationships you counted on are suddenly gone. But you don't have to walk through this alone. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has guided men through the challenges of divorce. You're not alone. Call Cordell & Cordell.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's San Antonio area attorneys. Offices in San Antonio, Austin, and St. Louis. CordellCordell.com.
Guys, stop what you're doing. Give me a few seconds of your time and let me give you a piece of advice that will change your love life forever. Have you noticed you've been losing a little pep in your step? Has your lady friend asked you, is everything okay? Do you find yourself having trouble rising for the occasion? Do you stress out before that special moment and wonder, is it gonna work? Guys, I'm going to let you in on a big secret. You don't ever have to worry again. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula has you covered. Mojo is the 100% guaranteed male enhancement formula that guarantees lasting success, if you know what I mean. The Mojo Male Enhancement Formula is safe, natural, and effective every single time, guaranteed. Yeah! Mojo is available in a fast-acting spray and a quick-action capsule. Do yourself and her a favor and call Pure Line Nutrition in San Antonio today. They'll get you set up for success. Call 210-494-2210. That number again is 210-494-2210. Mojo Male Enhancement, only available at Pure Line Nutrition.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
What's up, guys? Dude Perfect here. We are so excited to announce that we are bringing the Dude Perfect Tour to your city this fall. We cannot wait to get out on the road. We are so excited.
Dude Perfect, live at AT&T Center, September 29th. Get tickets now at dudeperfect.com.
We've got our favorite overtime segments. We've got crazy new competitions. We cannot be more excited to be live and in person with you. So check out dudeperfect.com for details. Signing off for now. Pound it. Noggin. See ya.
The play is in. The Blitz with Jason Minix and Sports Insiders. San Antonio Sports Star. ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Glad to have you along on a football Friday. We'll have Johnson and Brandeis coming up. Kickoff set for 7 o'clock. That's going to be a fun one tonight. Don Harris had a good one last night, although I know it was hurting him on the inside. Calling the Gucci Bowl, seeing the Clark Cougars and an 11-year losing streak to his Churchill Chargers. Don Harris from News 4. How you doing, man?
Good to hear your voice, Jason. I'm doing great, brother. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. There's so many things I wanted to talk to you about, especially with some things going on with Zion and New Orleans. Manu back with the Spurs organization. But I know that you do a lot with San Antonio sports and the San Antonio Sports Hall of Fame, as I do. And although what you've put together and the amount of work that I think you've put into this project, I wanted to make sure, and we talked about it some, because it's different. And, because of COVID, there wasn't a Hall of Fame ceremony last year. And this year, same kind of thing, getting everybody together, doing a major event. I like that San Antonio Sports has turned this into a TV special, which is going to be tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, that you're putting together.
Well, you give me too much credit. There's a lot of cooks in this kitchen, and it starts with Russ Bookbinder and his staff at San Antonio Sports. They do such a great job putting on that gala. And as you know, I've been able to be a voting member since the beginning in '95 and have emceed it the last 25 years. And it's always such a special night to honor the best who have ever done it in San Antonio. And Russ and his team and Mary Jaffett, and they all decided that, it'd be safer to make it a TV event. And my boss, Dean Radla, is the chairman of the board now for San Antonio Sports. And he and Russ worked together, and we decided that it would be a great thing to put it on television. And I've had a lot of help. Chase Shannon and John Elizondo have done some of the features on the inductees, and San Antonio Sports and has worked with our Chris Coppins at the TV station to put the auction items on, and it's online, and some great auction items, by the way, at sanantoniosports.org. So I'm really, really happy with the way it's turned out, and I think it's a great way for people who don't normally get to go to that gala to experience this San Antonio Sports Hall of Fame. It's a really fun event, as you know, you've been, and we've prepared some really nice tributes to the 5 inductees. And I think people will really enjoy learning about the history of these people and what their achievements were in San Antonio. And I think it's a good hour of television.
Yeah, absolutely. Tomorrow night, 9 o'clock on News 4. And, so if you're not around, set the DVR. This is one of those, make sure you set the DVR. You're going to want to have this. In the dealings of COVID, and with not everybody living in San Antonio, if it's an event, everybody can fly in. They know the weekend. They know the date. Was it hard getting everybody together to be able to get them to do the interviews, or was that actually kind of easy with Zoom and that sort of thing?
Well, there were some here that we were able to get in person, and some all over the country. Lynn Hickey, for example, is all the way up in Eastern Washington. And the Trinity tennis team from 1972 is scattered all over the country. So with the, we all got used to using Zoom during the pandemic, so that made it easier. But yeah, getting the interviews was a little different than usual. And all the tributes have been put together with the interviews from them. And, for example, we're honoring Robert McDermott, the former Spurs chairman and chairman at USAA. And so we were able to secure interviews with David Robinson and Greg Popovich here locally. But yeah, it was a lot different than normal, and my job is a lot easier when I MC it because it's all in person. It's all one night event down there at the convention center. And so this was more than a couple of months worth of work by a lot of different people to put it all together. And I think you'll like it.
Well, and again, tomorrow night, 9:00, I just know the amount of work and being a voter and being on some things and hearing some of the background stuff. I wanted to make sure that we got a chance to talk about this and get people either in front of their TVs or setting the DVR, because there's so much that goes into it. And again, when you look at voting is one of the hardest parts for this thing because, there are so many great stories behind just the name that most people or that some people will recognize most. And you look at some of those stories and you go, yeah, that's a Hall of Famer. Yeah, you know what I mean? There's just so much into it, which is what has made this event so great throughout the years.
Yeah, and some of them are obvious, like David Robinson and those who come through. But what I really like about this year's class or last year's class that we're now inducting is that some of these stories are 40 and 50 years in the making. And, people forget how big the Trinity tennis team was in 1972. Dick Stockton beat guys like Bjorn Borg and Jimmy Connors and Stan Smith when he turned pro and made a Wimbledon final and made other major finals and had like 18 titles. But when he was in college with his teammates over at Trinity, USC and UCLA had won like the last 11 NCAA tennis championships, and Trinity was nothing. It was a school of 3,000 students here in San Antonio, and they finished third as freshmen, second as sophomores and juniors, and then they win the national championship as seniors. And researching that and going back and look at that story, Mike Ayala, I distinctly remember being 14 years old and going to the Mr. Gaddy's on San Pedro to watch on the big screen Mike Ayala fight Danny Little Red Lopez. And now 40 years later, to be able to interview Mike and tell his story, his triumphs and his tragedies of his family, the Ayalas in boxing, and to induct Mike 40 years later, 40 years for Mike, 50 years for the Trinity tennis team, was special. And then I still get goosebumps. You'll remember this. The Stan Bonowitz 95 East Central basketball team was by far the greatest team that I ever covered in San Antonio, going undefeated and winning the highest classification in basketball. And to blow out Dallas Carter the way they did in the fourth quarter up at the Drum in Austin gave me goosebumps remembering all of that and being able to research all that, get all that video put together and interview Stan and his dad again was a thrill too. So I think it's a lot of fun. I think people like it.
Again, 9:00 tomorrow night, the tribute show for the San Antonio Sports Hall of Fame. Technically, last year's class, this year's class will get announced in a month or so, or a little bit longer. But, I'm just glad that they were able to pivot, turn this into a TV production, and make sure that everybody that's supposed to get honored does get honored and do it in the right way. As we visit with Don Harris from News 4 here on ESPN San Antonio Sports Star. Don, let's shift gears a little bit to the San Antonio Spurs. Media Day is Monday. Training camp starts Tuesday. They sent out a press release today with a bunch of promotions and newcomers coming in. In one line, Spurs front office, Manu Ginobili has been named special advisor to basketball operations, and Josh Ryan is now senior front-end developer. The typical Spurs not making that a major headline?
I think it's by Manu's request. I think Manu, being as humble as he is, wanted to come in with as little fanfare as possible. Honestly, I think it's they've been trying to talk him into doing for a couple of years, just like they did when they tried to talk Tim into coaching.
Yep.
Manu's a great mentor and was tremendous for guys like Patty Mills and others. And I don't think it's going to be a full-time thing for Manu. I think he'll still be able to travel to Argentina with the family when he wants to and take vacation time when he wants to. But I think when he's in town and when he's during especially the early part of the season, he can get down to practice, which he was doing anyway, and talk to some of these young Spurs and these young guards, and not only mentor them in their basketball game, but also in life, and just kind of be a off the court mentor as well. I think basketball is in Manu's blood. I always predicted that Manu would be the head of Argentina basketball at some point and run their international program. I don't know if you remember this, but he pretty much coached a game one time when the Spurs were playing in Mexico City. I don't think he has the time to put into coaching that he wants, to spend that much time at it and all the work that it takes to be a coach, but it's in his blood. Manu's a gym rat, and I think he has a lot to offer, and I think the Spurs are going to benefit from this.
What do you make of the story coming out of New Orleans with Zion?
The one about him not being happy?
Not being happy, not wanting to work out with his teammates, not having a relationship with their GM Griff. In fact, what are they calling him now? Krause, like the Bulls GM, just all the negativity. Now, granted, here's a guy that's going to have his third head coach in 3 years. But just for him to distance from front office types makes sense. But from your teammates, you just realize how toxic of a situation it has turned into since Alvin got let go.
Well, here's the thing, and I wasn't, free to talk about it when my brother-in-law was coaching the Pelicans. But the truth is that when Dave Griffin came to the Pelicans, he was really great to Alvin and Zion. But at the same time, he was always protecting himself. And by the time they got to go to the bubble, it was no secret that he tried to keep Alvin from going with COVID testing. He fired Alvin soon after. They hamstrung the coaching staff. They wouldn't let Zion practice. They wouldn't let the team practice. They were deciding, the medical staff was deciding minutes, not only for Zion, but for other players as well. And I got to tell you this straight up, man, Dave Griffin lost the trust of Zion and his family with the way Zion was handled in the bubble. And ever since that moment, I told some people in New Orleans that cover the team, I said, you watch, Zion's gone. And he's going to go to New York or wherever as a free agent. But I didn't think at the time that Griff would ever be able to get the trust back for Zion's family with the way they treated Zion in the bubble, the way they limited his minutes, the way they didn't want him to go really at all. And ever since then, it's been a situation that's been deteriorating there in New Orleans. I didn't know that it gotten – I quit paying attention to the Pelicans, but I didn't know that it, evolved to the point where Zion didn't want to even mess around with his teammates. But he's definitely kind of sending a Sean Watson, J.J. Watt type of message here in that, I'm not happy with the way this franchise is being run.
Yeah, it's an interesting story as training camps get ready to get underway next week. Hard to believe it's already basketball time. Don Harris from News 4. Always appreciate the time, the insight, and again, the Hall of Fame tribute show Saturday night, 9 o'clock on News 4. If you're not at your TV, set your DVR now, because I know a lot of people, including Don, put a lot of work into that, and it's a great way to get an idea of what San Antonio sports and the Hall of Fame is all about.
And Jason, I might add too, you can go to sanantoniosports.org and there's $8,000 trips and stuff to Cabo or whatever, but there's also stuff we can all afford on there, $50 for an autograph here or whatever. There's some really good auction items, and all of it goes to support I Play After School San Antonio sports. And what people don't realize, and we're all sports fans, right, is that a lot of us who had kids play YMCA football, basketball, and all that kind of stuff, there's a lot of kids in San Antonio that don't get that opportunity because of economics. And I Play After School is what San Antonio sports does that allows kids from all over town, from every socioeconomic background, to play sports in a league for free and to expose them to all the advantages that we all learn playing youth sports, like discipline and self-respect and competition and all of that. And so it's a great way to support San Antonio sports, great nonprofit organization. And it does so much for the kids in need in San Antonio who otherwise wouldn't get the chance to play sports. So support it that way as well.
Yeah, that auction, a lot of great items and lots of stuff to go through. Again, some of the higher ticketed items that you say you could if you can afford it, bid. If not, there's plenty of stuff, as you said, for everybody on there. And it is such a great organization for our city and the number of people that they help and touch throughout the community every year. They do such a great job down there. Don, I look forward to watching you on Saturday night and seeing this special tribute. Appreciate you and all that you do for the city in San Antonio and San Antonio sports.
Thanks, brother Jason. Good hearing your voice, bro.
I will talk to you later. Don Harris from News 4 doing that on a day off as well because, Don's kind of like me. He's been going to a lot of different concerts. He was just up at Red Rock, saw Earth, Wind, and Fire last week. Busy man. And putting that together, that was a major, major project. Coming up, Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Aggies, will join us just after 5. We'll also talk some Texas Longhorns versus Texas Tech Red Raiders. Get your tortillas ready for an 11 a.m. kickoff tomorrow. That more coming up as we continue here on the Blitz. And speaking of tortillas, you need those for your sausage wraps because, it's football time. You got to get your kielbasa sausage wraps, especially like me. I'm at a high school football stadium right now, a Hero Stadium. There is a kielbasa sausage wrap in my very near future. It's $4.50. By about 6:35, I will have the first of probably 3 sausage wraps that I'll have here. Get 1 or 2 during pregame, get 1 at halftime. And what's great, first off, kielbasa, is the best sausage on the planet. And it's a great local San Antonio company. They started here in 1949. But it's a great San Antonio company when they design their product to fit perfectly in our tortilla. If you've ever wondered why kielbasa sausage is the length that it is, now you know. It was designed to fit perfectly in a tortilla because, they're San Antonio. They understand it. Sausage wraps. It's football time. So get into your grocery store, get your cold beverages. You know what I mean? Get your tortillas and get some kielbasa today.
Saturday afternoons mean one thing. College football. Oh my God! Hear games from all Power 5 conferences all season long, every Saturday from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Are you thinking about selling your car? Don't get tricked with 2-minute offers only to spend 4 hours at a dealership. I want you to check out my friends at Car Zeus. It's Rudy J here. Car Zeus is not a dealership, so you don't need to worry about shady sales tactics just to lure you in the door. I'm talking about saving you time and hassle. Simply fill out a form about your car's condition at carzeus.com, and a local agent will text you an offer during business hours. No obligation. Plus, they pay the same day and even provide a courtesy Lyft ride home. That's carzeus.com.
It's that time of year again, and all eyes are now turning to football as teams are back on the gridiron. BetOnline.net is your #1 spot for all the pro and college football odds and news this season. Get all the updated info on players, teams, and odds to help you with your new football contests, leagues, and new survivor pools. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite sports. Pro sports, MMA, championship boxing, golf, horse racing, they have it all. Bring the game home with BetOnline.net, where the game starts.
Now that commission-free trading is the norm, it's time to rethink how we define value. Value is more than a price tag. It's the confidence of knowing you have a team of traders on standby to answer any question. It's Thinkorswim's charting and analysis tools, and it's a personalized education to fine-tune your skills. Value is becoming smarter with every commission-free online equity trade. Discover true value with TD Ameritrade, where smart investors get smarter.
Did you know the arrow in Amazon's logo represents A to Z? Maybe the My Computer Career logo should represent unemployed to employed. Ryan was out of work when he started classes in March. In September, he started his IT career working for Amazon, making more money than he ever thought possible. Here's a prime opportunity. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You could start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
I'm Serena Williams. You watch me live on TV. So why am I in a British drama you watch on demand?
Fancy a dance, milady?
Sure. It's because DirecTV Stream brings the best of live TV and on-demand together.
Oh, you're quite the dancer.
Mr. Jeffries, you're making me blush.
Oh.
Introducing DirecTV Stream, the best of live TV and on-demand with no annual contract. Get your TV together at directv.com.
Requires high-speed internet and compatible device. Content varies by package and location. Restrictions apply.
San Antonio Sports Star is taking halftime on the road. We'll be out at Twin Peaks this Monday, September the 27th. We'll be covering all things Monday Night Football and prepping you for the Eagles and Cowboys. And you'll have a chance to win Twisted Trails tickets and some brand new San Antonio Sports Star swag. That's right. Join us September the 27th for lunch from noon to 2 at Twin Peaks Westover Hills location, 410 and 151. That's this Monday, September the 27th from noon to 2 at Twin Peaks, 410 and 151. San Antonio Sports Star on the road.
The top teams, the Thundering Dunks, the last second shots.
Fade away three, go!
Get the latest NBA preseason news, opinions, and analysis on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
This is Rob Thompson on your home for Dallas Cowboys football. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. You know, I'm excited about this. I don't want it to sound negative, but I said a week or two ago, I'm going to go see UIW play this week against McNeese. They kick off at 11 a.m. Guess what else kicks off at 11 a.m.? Texas against Texas Tech. I'm still going to the UIW game. I got a phone. I want to go watch in person. They got beer over there at Benson Stadium. And I think what my plan is going to be, I'm going to go because I'm going to be at Benson Stadium. So that game's at 11. Then UTSA plays at 2:30, but they're in Memphis. But there's a huge watch party at Pinkerton's Barbecue for UTSA. So I think I'm going to go from Benson to Pinkerton since I'm, right in that area. Of course, the Aggies are also playing at 2:30. Andrew Monaco will come up in just a couple minutes. We'll talk about that game. But I look at this Texas game. It's going to be an interesting game for the Texas Longhorns, who ran all over Rice last week. Texas Tech's coming in 3-0, and Red Raiders talking a lot of noise. They haven't played anybody. But Texas beat Rice. Louisiana, I'm still proud of that one. But they had embarrassment to Arkansas. Rice was the perfect get-right game. Bijan Robinson still running. Casey Thompson, let's see what you do. But it is going to be interesting to see how both teams play in the Big 12. This could be the final Big 12 opener for the Texas Longhorns. This is their first Big 12 game since they made the announcement they're leaving to the SEC. And for Texas Tech, this is their game. I mean, for the Longhorns, it's just next on the schedule, but there is a half rivalry here, a one-sided rivalry. I saw one of those signs that said, we don't waste our tortillas, which I appreciate. 11 a.m., your breakfast tacos are going to be ready to go. But this is going to be an interesting one because, quite frankly, we don't know how good Texas Tech is or how bad they are. I like the highlights that I've seen, because Lord knows I haven't watched an entire Texas Tech game or even found them on the TV when they're live, but I have seen highlights. That transfer quarterback looks pretty good. They seem to be playing good, but hard to judge against Stephen F. Austin. You know what I mean? So I'm curious to see what Matt Wells is doing there in Lubbock. I'm very interested to see how the Longhorns respond, because I think they still have to respond to the Arkansas game. The scrimmage they had last week against Rice doesn't count. That made everybody feel good, but that wasn't like the Tower Orange kind of thing, although Bijan Robinson looked good. The offensive line looked good, but it was Rice. Can you do it against a Big 12 opponent? And again, if they blow out Tech, people are going to say, well, it was just Texas Tech. We don't know yet. It's hard to say how good either of these teams are. But Texas still has to recover from that loss to Arkansas. How is A&M going to handle Arkansas this week? Tell you what, Andrew Monaco is going to join us next. This is an interesting game, and that line, not as big as Aggies want it to be. Unless, of course, you put money on it, then you feel pretty good about where that line is. But, Vegas, man, them boys know. It's going to be a test tomorrow for Texas A&M. Where are you watching it? Well, I highly recommend you go watch the Aggies play at the Roo Pub, 281 and Redland Road. There is no better place in San Antonio to watch any game. The Roo Pub at 281 and Redland Road has those three massive 170-inch laser TVs. They got TVs all around, and Chip is an Aggie. There's an Aggie game on. It's all Aggie in there and all his Aggie friends. You're going to be with a whole bunch of Aggies in there, probably some that formerly played at Texas A&M. I see Nate Askew up there, seems like, for every Aggie game. I've said many times, best place to go watch the game, great place to go eat. Their wings are fantastic, the biggest in town. I had some last night when we were out at the Roo Pub watching the Texans take on Carolina. They're definitely the biggest wings. I know they're the best wings in town. They got 15 different burgers on the menu. They've got wraps. They've got salads. They got great appetizers. I love the Philly cheesesteak fries. And that kitchen is open late until 2 a.m. every day. Full menu available until 2 a.m. So you're looking for that late night meal, no better place than the Roo Pub. Of course, they have all the beers you want. They got the full bar, great game room. Their darts area is fantastic. They do have happy hour weekdays from 11 to 6. So for lunch, for dinner, for late at night, and certainly for watching the game. That Aggie game tomorrow, get into the Roo Pub, get there early, get yourself a good spot to watch it. They're also going to have UFC tomorrow night. So you might get to the Roo Pub around 11 and leave around 2 a.m. It's the James Pledger Saturday routine. Enjoy them. See Pledge out there, the Roo Pub, next to the Angry Elephant, 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
Get the latest scores from all varsity sports and all the schools in the 210 anytime at 210varsity.com. Sponsored by the San Antonio Express News. While you're at the game on Friday nights, upload photos and videos to your school's page.
No way.
Plus, check out game schedules and more. 210varsity.com. From the Express News and San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Hey, Cowboy fans, Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys and San Antonio Sports Star. We're throwing a big watch party for the Monday night game between the Cowboys and Eagles at I-10 Ice House. We'll start with a live broadcast of the Blitz starting at 4, and then watch the Cowboys take on the Eagles. Hourly drawings from 4 to 7 to win Cowboy game tickets, a Miller Lite Cowboys OtterBox cooler, Drew Pearson Hall of Fame standee, and other great prizes. And enjoy Miller Lite and long necks during the game for just $2.08. That's Monday at 4 at the I-10 Ice House.
If you and your spouse went from I do to I don't, it may be time to walk down a new aisle. Call DivorceDude.com at 210-201-0303 and ask for Mark, the Divorce Dude with Polling Law PLLC. DivorceDude.com can help you get a fast, affordable, agreed divorce. But if you want to fight, the Divorce Dude can fight for you. DivorceDude.com gives you easy legal options and sticks with you every step of the way. If the marriage is over, why fight? DivorceDude.com.
1911 Cigars is the premier cigar lounge in South Texas, providing quality, affordable cigars in a professional, inviting environment with a large covered patio with TVs. A BYOB establishment, 1911 Cigars strives to allow the avid cigar connoisseur a comfortable place to relax, socialize, network, and of course enjoy a great cigar. 1911 Cigars is available for private events and has private cabanas with TVs, fire pits, and heaters. 1911 Cigars at 207 South Main Street in Cibolo. Online at 1911cigars.com.
Jason Minix here for Alamo Water Softeners. Whether your home is a new build or an older home, Alamo Water Softeners has a water treatment bundle with special pricing to give your home the highest quality water treatment available. Choose from several bundles, including the Premier Whole Home Bundle. Get a free standard gas or electric water heater when you purchase a select top-of-the-line water softener, plus one filter and reverse osmosis system. Go to AlamoWaterSofteners.com. That's AlamoWaterSofteners.com.
Rudy J here, and I want to tell you about Enrique Custom Vision. Dr. Enrique has performed over 58,000 laser vision corrections, and he's the only Z-LASIK trainer in the area. He treats nearsightedness, farsightedness, and even astigmatism. And all procedures are blade-free and pain-free, and they just take seconds per eye. Get the vision you deserve without glasses and contacts. Call 354-2020 today to get the Enrique difference. Don't compromise your only set of eyes. Call 354-2020 today.
One team, one mission. KZDC, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, The Blitz.
It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. Glad to have you along. It's a football Friday out at Hero Stadium. Johnson Brandeis coming up at 7 o'clock tonight. Couple of undefeated teams, district action. Going to be fun. I'm Jason Minix on Twitter at Jason Minix. Tomorrow afternoon in Dallas, Aggies and Razorbacks. It's going to be a fun game. Andrew Monaco, the play-by-play voice of them Texas A&M Aggies, joins us now as he does about this time every Friday. Andrew, it's been an interesting week, man. How you been?
It has been interesting for sure. I am great, my friend. Thank you.
When you look at a game like this, and even I guess we got to go back and look at last week's game, although that was the perfect get-right game. Although I am concerned about Zach Calzada and the natural instinct to feel a rush, knowing that he's got Razorbacks coming at him this week and not Lobos.
Yeah, that's going to be the difference. Let me flip it to you and what was said this week during practice on the Coolidge practice fields, talking with one of the Aggie linebackers, and Tyler Santucci said, look, when you're not in the correct gap, it's a 12-yard gain against New Mexico. He said, listen to me, from here on out, every Saturday, that's a touchdown. That's the difference between the SEC and you taking on a team like New Mexico. That's why you have to be gap secure. I think you can throw that to the offensive side. Jimbo said on Monday, look, we were like a half inch away, half a step away from that block. And that's the difference between 2nd and 11 or maybe 2nd and 5 or breaking one. And it just gets magnified now that you step into, as Jimbo said, big boy football. That begins tomorrow here at AT&T Stadium.
It certainly does. And again, and I know, we've talked about it. I've talked about it with some other friends, some Aggie friends who at first it was fun to do a game there at Jerry World, but especially if Arkansas is going to be good, this does need to go back to the campuses. And I think many think it will once the contract expires in the next couple of years. But I look at this game for Texas A&M, and I know their line play is bigger, stronger, faster than what the Texas Longhorns have. But seeing what Arkansas did to the Texas Longhorns, I think Sam Pittman has this team turned around faster than anybody thought he would.
And because there are a lot of 4th, 5th, and even the 6th year, the super seniors are coming back, I think says an awful lot about what Sam Pittman is doing there. They know exactly what they're getting into. They'd like to leave their mark. So they're really playing for this guy. I was talking to Quinn Grovey. He was a former quarterback there at Arkansas, does color for them. And we got talking about fit for the head coach. Fit. And actually, we brought up the USC job. Will USC go for fit or will they go for sizzle? If you remember when Arkansas named Sam Pittman, because everybody's saying, what are you hiring an offensive line coach for? They did that with Brett Bielema. But Pittman, it's a fit for them. And that has been a terrific fit. So for these guys to come back and play for him, I think says an awful lot. And that experience was, I think, a difference in that win over Texas. I personally think, I asked Jimbo this week, was Colorado the wake-up call for Texas A&M? I don't think they have to wait until Saturday for the wake-up call. I certainly hope that they got it against Colorado. If not, then there wasn't a lesson learned 2 weeks ago in Denver.
There certainly was, but there was some, not that Jimbo would ever admit to this, some built-in excuses with Haynes King getting hurt early and that having some sort of effect. I want to go back to Pittman and the fit. I had that same conversation with Clint Sterner, who does radio down in Houston on Sports Radio 610, former Razorback quarterback, and he just talked about sometimes it's not always X's and O's. It's who's going to get in there, motivate the players, motivate the fan base, motivate the donors, and get people interested in the program again. And Sam Pittman has done that at Arkansas, and he's winning games and beating Texas, has that team feeling like they are maybe better than they are. But I look at the line. I mean, Vegas, they look through all the nonsense. I'm surprised that it's Aggies only by 5.5.
The defense hasn't given up a point in 7 quarters. That's what I think a lot of people are forgetting. You know what I mean? And this will be a defense at Arkansas. In fairness, if everyone is going to use the Kent State and New Mexico against Texas A&M, you've seen the people talking about it. Mm-hmm. Then they were trailing Rice in the 3rd quarter. Now, in fairness, they found a way to win that game. Maybe Arkansas last year doesn't. Is that the Pittman effect? Very possible. You know what I mean? And then they did what they had to do against Georgia Southern: run the ball. KJ Jefferson able then, when you run the ball, don't have to put it in the air as much. Can the Aggies stop that run and put them behind the chains or third and long? That's what we're going to find out. This defense is very confident, and they know that's that standard. Are they going to pitch a shutout every week? No, that's very difficult, especially in this day and age of not just SEC, but college football in general. But it's going to be a very different defense than Arkansas has seen. And for Sam Pittman and Barry Odom in this defense, Barry Odom brings a couple of transfers from Missouri on that defensive line, one from Illinois State. Lord knows the transfer portal can get you right in a hurry. And it's, a lot of those fourth and fifth year guys, their linebackers are all coming back. Catalan is that safety Jimbo thinks may be one of the best safeties, not just in the conference, but in the country. You have to really, really be careful because that talent level does rise. Who's going to get the better of it? Can this line give time to Calzada? Can they open holes for Isaiah Spiller? That's going to be – look, if the Aggies can run the ball, you're doing the same thing with Zach Calzada. Does it make his decisions a little bit easier? Look, there's for all that people want to talk about in college football and it's changing this and that, in the SEC, if you can run the ball, you're going to be effective. If you can play defense, you're going to be effective. I think that's the key for both of these teams is it's really a pretty simple thing, recipe for success. And Arkansas – so close to winning those games last year, it's almost like they learned from it, and they are winning those games this year.
When you think about it, as we visit with Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Aggies, and I get a feeling this is going to be one of those good old-fashioned SEC slugfests. A month ago, I saw Arkansas as an easy win at Jerry World for the Aggies. It's going to be a party for everybody that makes the trip up there like it has been, right? Although they actually end up always being, pretty interesting games. But I look at Zach Calzada and the way he played from a confidence level, a composure level from when he got into the game against Colorado to last week. And again, not downplaying New Mexico, but he looked comfortable. And that's the week of preparation. Now that he has that under his belt, another week of preparation with a game plan tailored to him and him knowing, I'm the guy. I've got to be QB1 in that mindset. Even though backup says they always prepare like a starter, you prepare like you're a starter when you know you're the starter. You prepare differently, right? How the growth that you saw from Colorado to New Mexico to what you watched in practice, what do you expect to see from him on that side of development on Saturday, tomorrow afternoon against the Razorbacks?
As you know, whoever is the quarterback for Jimbo Fisher must make the correct decisions. And what I always find fascinating, Jason, is not just in the game, but also at practice. If something goes wrong and Jimbo asks him why, Zach now has that answer of what he saw. And sometimes Jimbo says that's not what you were supposed to, and sometimes he understands what he was looking at. And I think he's got more of a confidence with that offensive line of what he wants to bark out the play. He'll change a play. There's a time that he'll tell a wide receiver, hey, you were supposed to do this, like the understanding of what everybody's role is. I'm with you. I think there is something different to starters, reps on the field. It's completely different. Look, if they're running out of time in a practice period, the twos don't come up. You're going to give those extra reps to the ones. You know what I mean? And that's the difference. Before, that was going to Haynes. Now it's going to Zach Calzada. But I think it's always that communication with the head coach who's he's behind his shoulder every single snap during those practices. And to be able to see what he's supposed to be seeing, to be able to make those adjustments are huge. I think there's a big difference. And then having the success, but even understanding, okay, why did I throw that pick against New Mexico? What can I change the next time that happens? Do you hold the ball too long? As we talked about after Colorado, he was rushing through the progressions. He saw receiver 1, 2, and 3, but he didn't take the time. He was just way too quick on that, so it didn't develop. I think the rhythm of the game, the timing of the game, his clock changes just a little bit, but it's always going to come down to making the right decisions. And fans have to understand sometimes the incompletion to learn, to live, to play another down is the correct decision as opposed to trying to force something, especially when the defenses get better. And that kind of decision, that kind of mistake could be a turnover and a short field as opposed to okay, let's play another down, or even punt it away. Those are the types of decisions that he's got to make every single snap. He's got the ball in his hands every single time. He's got to be smart. That's a Jimbo Fisher quarterback right there.
Andrew Monaco, voice of the Aggies, with us here on the Blitz. And Andrew, I apologize for keep making comparisons to the Texas game, but it was the only one of Arkansas's games that I watched this year, and I wasn't happy watching it because I saw what they did to the Texas run game and Bijan Robinson. And Hudson Card, that entire game until he got pulled, just happy feet, having trouble making decisions. So taking at what I saw against Texas and thinking about the run game with Spiller and A-Chain, what does A&M do if Arkansas focuses on stopping the run, kind of like Tampa Bay did with Zeke in the opener against the Cowboys? Does Zach have what it takes as a quarterback to either check out of runs and make the right play, or is that Smith on jet sweeps or short passing game? I mean, where's the wrinkle in the game plan if the Aggies are unable to run the ball on that Arkansas defense?
Do you go two back like they did against Colorado and keep throwing to Isaiah Spiller and Devon A-Chain out of the backfield? That will be interesting. Or the quick passes to perhaps a Damon Demas on the outside, to an Ananias Smith, and can you get them in space? That's what Arkansas is going to have to be worried about, because it's not just it's not the type of thing, oh, they took away the run and we'll make the adjustment next week for Mississippi State. You saw what Texas A&M had to do because, the receivers could not get open against Colorado. And Jimbo made that adjustment, get the ball out of his hands. And you know what? This is where Jimbo has said, as he's told us in the past, you love the big arm of Zach Calzada and you love the pocket presence. But there is a little athleticism to him. You saw him scramble. I know he fumbled on the goal line, but you saw him scramble and run. But will he do it at the right time? You don't want him to do it too soon because that's going to play into Arkansas's hands. That's for sure. But there's always going to be some kind of a counter. I find these matchups between coordinators fascinating. Jimbo Fisher and Darryl Dickey against Barry Odom's defense. To have Kendall Briles and Sam Pittman's offense against Mike Elko. I think they're fascinating. Who gets those, obviously those better matchups. But yeah, maybe they will try to take away that run. And then it will be a Jameer Johnson has to use all the experience that he had at Tennessee and 3 games. Can you open up something on that left side? Will Aki Agumbi and Bryce Foster, will they step up in their fourth game? Will something click for those guys? Will we see Kenyon Green be the All-American? Can they be in concert? That's the thing. As Jimbo has said, it's not just one guy messing up every single time. You could replace that. You could have 4 linemen, and then all of a sudden one is a half step off. And then on the next play, it's another guy. That's what's kind of been. But what if it clicks, Jason? What if this becomes the second half of Florida for this offensive line last year? And on that 4th and 2 or 3rd and 2, and they say, we can do this and impose their will. That's what they're looking for. They were able to do that a little bit later in that Colorado game. That offense needed that drive. They actually scored twice. That was a good – The defense said, look, just get us one. That's what you're hoping happens, and that's the whole thing. The message being, guys, yes, it's still in your hands. You just win your space. All 11, though, have to do it. Not 10, not 10 and a half. All 11 have to do it, and realize that it's got to be technical. You've got to be technically sound, and you have to be stronger, and you have to be more physical. Look, what I think what's going to be different is the New Mexicos and the Kent States gave them so many different looks. You kind of know exactly what Arkansas is going to do. Mostly 4 down linemen, mostly 2 linebackers, and 5 on the back end. But they're so talented. But instead of seeing all these crazy things, do you have a little bit more in your mind of, okay, this is what they're going to hit us with. We just have to be better than them. And I'm with you. Arkansas is going to have an awful lot of confidence because, like you said, like 2 weeks ago, that was the test, and they passed that test with flying colors over Texas.
Certainly flying colors. I think it's going to be a slugfest tomorrow there at Jerry World. You can listen to Andrew with the call. 1:30 pregame, kickoff at 2:30 over on our brother station, AM 550 KTSA and 107.1 FM. Andrew, enjoy your night up in Dallas. Have a good call tomorrow, my friend.
Johnson and Brandeis, huh?
Johnson and Brandeis, and it is a district game now. I say that, and people are like, it ain't a district. It's a district game now. Brandeis and Clark moved over to the Northeast District a year ago, making this a district ball game.
You've got a fantastic one as well. Have fun tonight, my friend.
Appreciate it. Andrew Monaco, the voice of the Aggies, as he joins us here on the Blitz. And yeah, it is Johnson and Brandeis tonight, just like last night with the Gucci Bowl. That's why Clark and Churchill were playing last night as opposed to opening the season, because that's now a district game as opposed to a non-district opener. Clark with a 17-0 win over the Churchill Chargers last night, their first win over the Chargers in 11 years. And I look at this one tonight for Johnson and Brandeis, and I know I'm going to piss off a lot of people as I say this. I think this is becoming the big rival game for these two teams. For Johnson, since they opened in 2008, it's been Reagan. For Brandeis, since they opened in 2008, it's O'Connor. But I look at Johnson and Brandeis have played for years in non-district. They've met in playoffs a couple of times. Now they're playing in district. I think for each of these teams, and they won't say it, but I think this is becoming the big rival for each school. I think for topping the Johnson-Reagan rivalry and topping the O'Connor-Brandeis rivalry. And it's fun to have a lot of rivalries.
And I can tell you from experience, rivalries can form quickly. Look at what Smiths Valley, when they came up to 5A, how fast the Town and Country Bowl took off.
The old Town and Country Bowl between Reagan and Smiths Valley. And it did. I mean, I think the first time they played, probably 2000, somewhere along in there, when Smiths Valley came up, I'll never forget, over at Blossom Athletic Center, as Smiths Valley was a playoff game against Reagan, and Cody Fuller, who went on to play at Texas Tech and then played pro baseball. I swear he caught a swing pass and hurdled 17 Reagan defenders around the 45-yard line and went down and scored a touchdown. It was one of the more incredible plays, or, going back and thinking about some of those, Marcus Wright playing back in the day, for Reagan, obviously the Knight brothers and what they were able to do. There were some wins, there were some losses, but Smiths Valley there from 98 to 05, they just beat everybody. It didn't really matter. I mean, except for Madison in the Alamo Dome when Nate Askew kept pushing off and scored 3 touchdowns. And Brian Urlacher was the quarterback of Madison that game. Madison won 28-27 because Smiths Valley missed an extra point.
Special teams, man. Between that one and the South Lake Carroll game.
Well, the South Lake Carroll State Championship game in Dallas, that one was interesting. I mean, it was a block punt by Eric Anders.
Mm-hmm.
He blocked the punt, returned it for a touchdown that gave Smiths Valley a chance to win that game. But then South Lake Carroll, who was the quarterback then?
Would have been Chase Daniel, right?
Was it Chase, or was Chase the one when they won 41-14 in the Dome? I'm trying to think when who the quarterback was. I thought it was, because they all dyed their hair blonde, but I thought it was the kid that ended up at Texas State for a while. But then what was it? Ortega, they hit a 42-yard field goal to win the game.
Was it 42 or 48?
42.
Oh, okay.
You could look it up. 42, 48. I'm pretty sure it was 42.
Okay. I remember it being longer, and I was like, that's...
Well, over time, it might get longer in your mind. And I'll never forget asking
64-yard
Larry Hill, how tough was it to watch, you got a state championship on the line and they're kicking a field goal. What's going through your mind? And he was thinking, block the kick and return it for a touchdown and let's go celebrate, which I appreciate. I mean, as a coach, what else do you want to hear?
Oh, they already got one of those.
You're not going, well, damn, they're going to kick the field goal and win. Oh, this sucks. He said, man, I was thinking we were going to block this. They called the block, had the play. And then, he reminded me that year against San Marcos, early in the season, they blocked an extra point and returned it for 2 to win a game by 1. I mean, that was the difference in winning and losing that game, and that's what he said he was wanting to do.
Coach Hill's always thinking 3 steps ahead in instances like that.
Coach Hill has not designed a play that wasn't meant to score on that particular play. Quarterback sneak?
I'm aware.
How are we going to score a touchdown on this? I mean, that's just Larry Hill. But again, you look at the football played between these two teams over the years, I think this is turning into a great rivalry. Not saying that Reagan and Johnson has dropped off or O'Connor and Brandeis has dropped off. I just think this game has gotten better as Johnson and Brandeis has continued to get better. And I look at Brandeis, new head coach, Charles Bruce coming over from Wagner, who had a lot of success over there with the Thunderbirds. And would there be any kind of hiccup for a first-year head coach coming in with a new system, new style, all that kind of stuff? And they're smoking everybody. You look at, let's see, Brandeis is averaging 41 a game while allowing 14. The Jaguars are averaging 44 a game while allowing 10. What's going to give tonight? Both teams are 4-0.
It's going to be like a 7-6 game.
It might be. It might be, as long as that clock keeps running. And you look at it, you never know. I don't think it's going to be 7-6. Because both these teams do have really good field goal kickers. And, I always look at how many field goals has your kicker taken and what's their long. For Johnson, Harrison Stone's long is 27. He's 16-17 on extra points on the year. So, you look at that and go, all right, maybe there could be a miss in there. You never know as you get ready for high school football. We'll have the Hill Electric High School Game of the Week. Pregame starts at 6:30. Kickoff is at 7 at Rudy J. Ready to go. He'll be in the booth here with me for this one tonight as Kevin Brock continues his cruise, in which he actually popped a question to his longtime girlfriend. So he's going to come back weighted down after that cruise. Mr. Ball and Chain. He just couldn't help himself. Not that I didn't know that was going to happen, but he actually went through with it. They made it Facebook official. So happy for Kevin Brock as he gets a week off of high school football for very good reasons. Cowboys play on Monday night. They've got the Philadelphia Eagles. Not that Mike McCarthy is going to show up to a press conference with a Beat Philly t-shirt, but we do got that game coming up Monday night. We'll talk about it with Jon Machota of The Athletic as we continue here on the Blitz. And you think about that game is on Monday night, which means on Sunday for you Cowboy fans, all day watching the Red Zone. Besides your regular fantasy football, get in some action on that game at UnderdogFantasy.com. It is the best new place to play fantasy sports with daily and season-long fantasy sports and the NFL Pick'em game, which is a lot of fun to play. It's my new thing. Pick any 2 to 5 player props to parlay together, and you could win up to 20 times on your entry in one night. The over-under, you pick whether a player is going to go over or under a given stat line in that game. They could do rivals where you pick which player between two of them have a more of a given stat in their game. Some players will be given a line handicap indicated, by the plus and the number below the picture. It's a lot of fun to play. So sign up today if you haven't already. I know a bunch you have because you guys send me screenshots of your action. I appreciate it. Keep sending them to me on Twitter at JSemenix. If you haven't signed up, do it, because they make it easy for you and they give you some free money to play with. Use promo code radio at sign up. Make your first deposit and you will receive a free $25 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. Register with promo code radio to get $25 cash for free with your first deposit. Download the app today. Start playing today. Make sure you use promo code radio at sign up. Terms and conditions do apply. Download the app or play online. UnderdogFantasy.com. Machota joins us next right after Sports Center with James Pledger. Pledge?
Thanks a lot, Jason. In the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs have announced that Manu Ginobili is returning to the organization as he will serve in the front office as a special advisor to basketball operations. It's being described by both ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski and, as you heard earlier today from Don Harrison News 4, that he will be a player-centric role both on and off the court. In Major League Baseball, the Houston Astros couldn't finish off their sweep of the Angels out in Anaheim, falling 3-2 last night in the finale, but they still took 3 of 4 in that series. They now open up a series in Oakland against the A's starting tonight with first pitch set for 8:40. The Texas Rangers fell 3-0 to the Baltimore Orioles in their series opener last night, a series they'll continue from Camden Yards with first pitch set for 6:05. In college football tomorrow, the 2-1 Texas Longhorns welcome the 3-0 Texas Tech Bears into Austin for an 11 o'clock kick. That game will be televised on ABC. Also at 11 o'clock tomorrow, the 2-1 Incarnate Word Cardinals welcome the 1-2 McNeese State Cowboys into town. The 7th-ranked Texas A&M Aggies will be taking on 16th-ranked Arkansas tomorrow afternoon at 2:30 in Jerry World, and you can catch that game over on our brother station, 550 KTSA and FM 107.1 tomorrow afternoon, starting at 1:30 with the pregame. I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Your source to local news and sports in San Antonio begins with the San Antonio Express News. We've collected, written, and shown the stories that matter most to San Antonio. Look no further than the San Antonio Express News to continue to provide information and strength to the community. Whether it's on the field or on a court, we provide the ground local coverage. Go to expressnews.com for the most up-to-date high school and college sports coverage. Subscribe today at expressnews.com.
San Antonio Sports Stars taking halftime on the road. We'll be out at Twin Peaks this Monday, September the 27th. We'll be covering all things Monday Night Football and prepping you for the Eagles and Cowboys. And you'll have a chance to win Twisted Trails tickets and some brand new San Antonio Sports Stars swag. That's right. Join us September the 27th for lunch from noon to 2 at Twin Peaks Westover Hills location, 410 and 151. That's this Monday, September the 27th from noon to 2 at Twin Peaks, 410 and 151. San Antonio Sports Star on the road.
When you need an electrician, Hill Electric is available 24/7 for residential and commercial needs. If you're having to rework your office, let Hill Electric design your socially distanced space to ensure each workstation has the proper electrical needs. For over 35 years, the family-owned Hill Electric has served San Antonio. There is never a service charge and always free estimates. Call Hill Electric at 210-404-9074. That's 404-9074. Or go to hill-electric.com.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Companies. If you thought you missed your chance to refinance and save, think again. Mortgage rates have recently dropped below 3%, and Rocket Mortgage can help you save big. You could lower your monthly payment and prepare yourself for a better financial future. But you've got to act now. Call us today at 833-8-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rocket. Conditions apply. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
People who are vaccinated are getting sick from COVID variants, and Americans have no end of questions and concerns. What we do know is that fever is the leading sign of COVID, so everyone needs an accurate thermometer. Exergen temporal scanner's accuracy is backed by more than 100 clinical studies, while non-contact devices have no supporting studies. Vaccines are not enough. Learn more at exergen.com.
Exergen is changing the way the world takes temperature.
Hey, Cowboy fans, Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys and San Antonio Sports Star. We're throwing a big watch party for the Monday night game between the Cowboys and Eagles at I-10 Ice House. We'll start with a live broadcast of the Blitz starting at 4, and then watch the Cowboys take on the Eagles. Hourly drawings from 4 to 7 to win Cowboy game tickets, a Miller Lite Cowboys Otterbox cooler, Drew Pearson Hall of Fame standee, and other great prizes. And enjoy Miller Lite and long necks during the game for just $2.08. That's Monday at 4 at the I-10 Ice House.
Jason Minix, The Blitz.
It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Cowboys play the Eagles on Monday night. We're going to be out at the I-10 Ice House with Miller Lite on Monday night. Make sure you come watch the game with us out at the I-10 Ice House. Jon Machota from The Athletic, he's actually going to be at the game at AT&T Stadium, and he's joining us now on The Blitz. You know, it's always interesting when the Cowboys play off schedule from a Sunday because, you know, in Mike McCarthy's world, in the Cowboys world, it's Thursday, and everybody's got to adjust their calendars to fit the right day of the week. So kind of an interesting Thursday practice on a Friday, John. This is you know, that good day of practice. What was it like out there at the Star?
You know, it wasn't much different than it was on Wednesday. I mean, again, when we're out there at that first 20, 30 minutes, a lot of individual drills, but, you know, even from those, you can definitely glean some information, one of which being that 2 days of practices we've been out there, and that's 2 days of practice that Micah Parsons has been working with the defensive ends and not at linebacker. So pretty obvious where they plan to play him on Monday. And then I'd say the other one is just for having what he calls a cracked rib. Amari Cooper was moving around pretty well today for a guy that For most of us, a crack rib would probably put us on the couch for several months. But it was funny after practice, Amari was talking about how much like a body can heal in 7 days. He's like, this isn't like the NBA where you got to play the next night. Like you can heal a lot in 7 days, and just like a cracked rib in 7 days. Like, so he plans on wearing some type of a flak jacket type thing for some extra protection. But it certainly sounds like he has every intention of playing Monday night. So it'll be interesting to see. I think the offense is going to be fine. It just the defense will be the one that there's going to be a lot of mixing and matching going on there.
Well, let's start with the offense and stay with Amari Cooper, because there's a whole lot of people listening to you right now that might have Amari Cooper on their fantasy team and, kind of thinking about, do I play somebody else on Sunday or do I take the chance? Because if you wait till Monday, you could be out of luck. So he was moving around pretty good, wear a flap jacket and go. I look at, though, his game the other day before the injury, assuming that injury came late. What did the Chargers do to take him out of the game, or was that just kind of what we've seen, where Amari Cooper's really good in home games and maybe not so good on the road?
Yeah, it's weird how that's kind of worked itself out. I mean, obviously he was good at Tampa in week one, but yeah, it has been the case. For the fantasy owners out there, I will say Amari has been a guy, one, that has always been willing to play through injury, and that hasn't really been an issue with him. Like he'll be out there. The other thing is that, Philadelphia has been probably the best team for him to go up against. I mean, some of his best days in the NFL have come against the Eagles. And so I think that's another factor in there where I think you should feel pretty good having them in your lineups for Monday. It's kind of funny that you bring that up because my brother actually has them in his lineup, and he was asking me, like, should I be playing Jamar Chase or Amari Cooper? I'm like, no, I'll play Amari. He's moving around like his normal self and that. And the thing is, I think the last game, obviously they went to him late it was the play before the Tony Pollard run that kind of got them in field goal range, and he'll go to Dak will throw to Amari in this game, and he'll get his touches, and that there are so many other weapons out there that even without Michael Gallup, I mean, CeeDee Lamb, has obviously been playing. He's an outstanding wide receiver. They feel really good about Jarwin and Schultz, and then really the other part of it was that game plan against the Chargers was a lot more dinking and dunking, a lot more underneath stuff. And Tony Pollard was a much bigger, player in that. So I don't know. I feel confident that Amari Cooper's not only going to play, but he'll put up some decent numbers against the Eagles.
John, if Amari Cooper plays, and for the record, I have him on one of my teams as well, or if he's limited or doesn't play, no matter what Amari's status is, seeing Pollard get the touches that he did last week, and knowing that he's a versatile type player, could you see some scenarios where he lines up in the slot and actually, instead of a back out of the backfield, plays slot wide receiver in this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible. I mean, we saw it in some of the OTAs and minicamp when they were dealing with some wide receiver injuries. Amari was coming off that foot surgery back in January, so they really weren't going to have him do much at that point. And so, they were short in practice for some receivers, and Tony Pollard did that, line up out wide. It is something that he is familiar with from his time at Memphis, and it's definitely a possibility. If anything, though, I think that a lot more of those snaps will go to Cedric Wilson. I just, in talking to people and just what I've seen from him, there's a lot of confidence in Cedric Wilson. And so, if you're a fantasy owner, you're just sitting there going, well, I want them to throw the CeeDee Lamb or Amari because those are the guys I have on my team, but that's just not really the way this offense is, and that's not really the way that Kellen Moore wants this offense to be. He wants a variety of guys to be out there. So, opponents don't know who they're going to go to. So, yeah, week one, Amari's the big, target. Week two, it was Tony Pollard kind of came out of nowhere. No one was really expecting that. This week, it could be, CeeDee Lamb. It could be one of the tight ends ends up having a big game. I mean, that's, for fantasy, it's not great for the NFL and for the teams that are, can have that many weapons. I mean, certainly Kellen Moore's not upset about it.
Definitely not. And he called a hell of a game last week. And I look at this team, Jon Machota from The Athletic here on the Blitz, and go, they're as close to being 0-2 as they are 2-0. Both teams coming down to, last-second field goals, interesting calls from the officials that could have changed the outcome of those games. As you head into week 3 of Monday nighter against the Philadelphia Eagles, where do you look and say this Cowboys team is? I mean, I'm impressed they won a game by scoring 20 points because I didn't think that was possible. But at the same time, I was a little surprised. They got 14 quick ones and 2 touchdowns in that first quarter and never found the end zone again. I'm still not sure what to make of this team.
Yeah, I mean, it's still early. It's clearly, you can't say one way or another exactly what the team will be. I haven't changed. Like, I think they're a 10-win team. I think that they're going to be playing in a lot of games similar to these first 2 where they don't really pull away. They're decided in the last few minutes. That's just how it's going to be. And with what they have invested on offense, you have to feel pretty good if you're, the Cowboys and what they're doing on offense and their ability to score late in games. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there should have been more points scored against the Chargers. And it was interesting because that first week it was all about not being able to score in the red zone. Well, they improved in the red zone, but they only scored 20 points. And so I just think every week it's just going to be something a little bit different. But fortunately for them, we could end up looking back on this schedule in a couple months and say, and the Chargers and the Bucs were clearly the best 2 teams that they played, and especially early on. I mean, because not just this Eagles team coming up, but I mean, you're talking about Carolina without Christian McCaffrey, without J.C. Horn, and then you have the Giants coming up after that. Those are 3 home games in a row. I mean, this is where you got to make some noise early on here. I mean, splitting 1-1. I mean, on those first 2, they should be happy about that. Now in these next 3 at home, this is where you got to take at least 2 out of 3, if not all 3 of these games.
I'm thinking all 3 with no McCaffrey after watching them play last night against Houston as we visit with Jon Machota from The Athletic here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. On the defensive side, +6 in turnovers. And, everybody by now knows the stats of when they got 6 last year and 4 interceptions and all that kind of stuff. The defense is playing better than expected, and I think we could all agree on that. And a player like Jalen Smith, who was heavily criticized and well earned all the criticism that he received last year, has been playing well. Has Dan Quinn made that much of an impact this quickly?
I think he has, and even if it isn't just the schematics, even though I do believe it's the schematics too, there is a lot to say about just the players being bought in. And that might seem like something that you should just expect out of NFL teams, but we clearly saw it too many times last year where it didn't appear like everybody was bought in. It didn't appear like everyone was on the same page. And that hasn't been the case, so far through these first 2 games. And so I think Dan Quinn deserves a lot of credit for that. I also think he deserves a lot of credit for having, the ability to switch some things up and play guys at different positions and to move Micah Parsons around. Not every defensive coordinator necessarily would do things like that. And so, yeah, I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. If you talk to coaches, they'll say that, they work on these takeaways and do all this stuff in practice. Yeah. Okay. Well, when the Cowboys weren't getting takeaways, it wasn't because they were like, oh yeah, you know what we forgot to work on this week is trying to take the ball away. We need to do that next week. They were trying hard. Believe me. I remember writing the stories about how they had these footballs drilled like into the walls at Valley Ranch. And when players would walk out of the meeting room, they were to hit it every single time. So, even when they weren't on the field, it was like constantly takeaways. And it's like, well, that's one thing, to sit there and practice all the time. It's another to actually see it in games. And, you mentioned earlier how they could be 2-0 or 0-2. A lot of that also hinges on the takeaways. I mean, you look at that first game, if they don't have the 4 takeaways, Tampa Bay probably blows them out. And you look at this last game, and if they don't have the 2 takeaways, just look at the DeMonte Casey interception in the end zone. There's a good chance the Chargers get 7 there, might win the game if that doesn't happen. So I don't know that the defense has all of a sudden turned this corner and everyone should be like, oh, the defense is fixed, we're good to go here. The turnovers have covered a lot of things up. If you can continue to do that, that'll mask a lot of the warts.
How has Micah Parsons changed when you guys have been around him from draft night to after week 2?
Literally not at all. I mean, a couple days ago, Mike has asked, so like, it's just so funny because us as reporters, we want these like deep stories about how like he just leaves the facility and grinds on tape for like 8 hours and goes to sleep and wakes up, and then he's like, I'm a 22-year-old kid. I leave here, I go home, I play video games, I enjoy my life. I don't try and like do too much with that type of stuff when I'm at home. I go over my playbook and look at some film about an hour before I go to bed, and then I go to bed. I wake up the next morning, I go to the facility, come back home, play video games. It's like he's still a 22-year-old kid, big personality. He's the same exact guy that I remember that kind of caught my eye on the ESPN special leading up to the draft called Hey Rookie, and they had 3 or 4 guys that were going to be drafted top 15, and I thought he just dominated that show. He just stole the show. He was the personality that was everyone gravitated towards, and that's who he is here. I mean, everybody seems to be pulling for him. And these guys in defense seem to like really be fascinated by the fact that this kid can go from being a middle linebacker and in one game go and play defensive end for 39 snaps. And it seems like he'll be back at defensive end for this game as well. So no, I don't sense him changing at all.
And no games last year because he opted out. The fact that he has done this so quickly, having not played football so often, I just think about his personality. We had him on the show draft night or the day after the draft. And, I've got a 23-year-old daughter. I think about her friend group and, he would fit right in. He's a 23-year-old kid with a nickname now of Terminator. He kind of gave that to himself, maybe. Is that going to stick for him?
I could see it. I mean, yeah, no, it certainly was one of those things where he kind of put that out there, and he knows that we're going to love a quote like that. And of course, we're going to tweet that thing out as fast as possible. Another one that I liked a lot too was he was asked if you're moving around from linebacker and D end, and you want to be out on the field more, and he doesn't want to ever come off the field. He's like, someone asked him like, don't you need to pace yourself? And he's like, pace myself. He's like, you don't try and pace a wild bull. You let that wild bull run. And I mean, I'm just like, yeah, I mean, he's right. And it's interesting to hear that at 22, but 17 game season after 17 game season. And I wonder how much, how long do you feel that way, and it might be for 10 years, he might be the next Bobby Wagner, who knows? But at the same time, as you mentioned, he didn't play all of last year. He's a hungry 22-year-old that has freak athletic ability and wants to be on the field at all times and never come off the field. Well, let that wild bull run then.
That's exactly what it is. Jon Machota from The Athletic here on the Blitz. You think about the Monday night game against the Eagles. Sometimes I'm not sure what to make out of what comes out of Fossil's mouth. And I hope it was tongue-in-cheek when he talked about, fans wanted us to go block a punt, so I gave them what they wanted. I hope that wasn't his reasoning there, especially when you heard Jerry on 105.3, the fans say he's a little bit more conservative in special teams. When you think about that aspect of the game, and special teams have been kind of iffy. What do you make of Fossil and some of the things that he says? I mean, do you buy him at face value, or is he just a man with a microphone having some fun?
I think on that particular quote, he was having some fun. Now, some other reporters, when we had talked about that after that press conference was over, disagree with me and thought that that's absolutely that's the way he was going to come at it, with almost some arrogance. And just being around John Fossil for, the last year, I didn't take it that way. To me, John Fossil could come into the press conference room and say that just as much as he could come in there and say, man, yeah, that was crazy. We probably shouldn't have done that. He is pretty candid. Obviously, if you watch Hard Knocks, you've seen that, that him talking about the vasectomy. I mean, that's just kind of how he is. I mean, he's a character. And I'll tell you this, he is the exact same every single day. Tons of energy every single day. I can tell you right now, I guarantee you did not lose any sleep over any fans that were critical of that. Now, with that being said, as we just got done talking about the wild bull, I think that you need to, if you're Mike McCarthy, you have to, kind of tame your special teams coordinator from maybe doing some too much wild bull things.
You mean neuter the wild bull?
Yeah. I understand that, you don't want to be completely vanilla and you want to have some different things for teams to think about and you want to be aggressive on special teams. And I'm fine with that. I just think you got to do a better job of picking your spots and just the way that game was going, the way momentum was going, it was all in the Cowboys' favor. I just didn't think it was necessary to do that. And there's just been some instances over, the last year and a half where we've seen some stuff where, you love the watermelon kick, but at the same time, you also don't love, the fake punt from your own 24 on 4th and 10, and you lose a yard against Washington, and everything spirals out of control for the rest of that game and really for the rest of that season. So, that's on a little bit on McCarthy too, to have to, this isn't something new for John Fossil. This is his resume. This is what he was doing, with the Rams for a long period of time. I mean, everybody knew that with Fossil, you didn't know what to expect on special teams, including the fact that on any given punt, Johnny Hekker could throw the ball, and it happened a lot. I mean, this is John Fossil's, reputation. And so as long as he's a special teams coordinator, he's going to be aggressive. So, it's kind of on Mike McCarthy to kind of, maybe be a little bit more careful about picking his spots where they're going to be aggressive and where they're not, and just get the ball to our loaded offense.
And to the reality, if it works, everybody loves it and it was great. And when it doesn't work, you're an idiot. What the hell were you thinking? I mean, that's just the life he has chosen to live.
It is, but I will say when that play was called, there were a few of us in the press box, kind of amongst ourselves being like, why don't you just go ahead and just tell me the last time that's worked for the Cowboys? When's the last time? And I think 2015 is the last time they blocked the punt. I'm just like, let's weigh risk reward here. Let's go ahead and get out the graphic on like, what is the risk reward on what you're doing here? Especially 2 minutes to go. And your offense is the strength of your team. This isn't a team that's like a very, an excellent defense that is just kind of, they run the ball and they, but their defense dominates games. They're going to win a lot of games like 17-14. No, this team is going to win on its offense. And if you have a chance to get your offense the ball back with 2 minutes to go, get them the ball back and don't risk it on 4th and 20. Just let them punt it. Let Dak and let this loaded offense go out there and work and see if they can get in field goal range. And if they can't, then half's over. Don't give, your defense, and again, a defense that is definitely not a strength, another chance to have to go back out there and possibly give up points to a Chargers offense that wasn't clicking at that time. Why give them any chance of getting any momentum back?
I 100% agree and was thinking the same thing in my living room. Why there? And, fortunately for the Cowboys, the field goal by the Chargers was missed because otherwise that could have been the deciding factor in the game. Jon Machota from The Athletic. Make sure you're following Jon on Twitter, at Jon Machota, Jon, and make sure you're subscribing to The Athletic. Great content there from Jon and all his colleagues there at The Athletic. Jon, enjoy the game Monday night. We'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Have a good weekend.
Appreciate it. Jon Machota from The Athletic here on the Blitz. Coming up, we'll have some more Cowboys talk. Actually, we'll hear from Mike McCarthy, the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, joined R&R in the morning this morning. I got to eat half a sandwich. I'm going to play that for you coming up after 6 o'clock so I can finally get to my lunch, just being honest. And Mike McCarthy had a lot of really good things to say. I could play you cuts from that, but I'll just play the interview from this morning. It's just funner that way. We'll also look around at the other games in the NFL as we continue here on the Blitz. You want to fire up the grill this weekend. Before you do, make sure you get into Tri-County Meat Market, one of their 2 great locations. Tri-County Meat Market is locally owned and full service. They have carefully selected certified prime Angus beef cuts, Wagyu, and upper choice. They have everything you need to up your grilling game. They've got the beef, they've got the chicken, they've got the pork, they've got the fajitas. Their seasoned fajitas are fantastic. You can't do them better than what you're going to get from Tri-County Meat Market. They got the poppers. They've got their own homegrown Wagyu. You talk about farm to fork Wagyu. Doesn't get better than what they have there at Tri-County Meat Market. When you go in there on the right side of the store, they got that pick 5 for $25. That's available to you every day. Incredible way if you're having a big event, a tailgate, or you just need to stock up on your freezers. Tri-County Meat Market offers a 10% discount for military and first responders. They have 2 great locations, on Ralph Fair Road and the other on Huebner. Check out their website, tricountymeat.com.
Texas Rangers baseball.
Leo 1. Joey looks to bunt toward third. Nobody there. Base hit, Joey Gallo.
Texas Rangers baseball happens here. San Antonio's Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Blake Stevens with San Antonio-based GPS of Texas. If you have commercial vehicles on the road, you're a target for personal injury lawyers. I mean, you're wearing a bullseye. Our system can protect you if there is an accident with proof of speed, video monitoring, even proof that your driver wasn't on his phone. Don't get hammered. Have real proof that you weren't at fault by installing our GPS camera tracking system. Call GPS of Texas at 210-587-7634 or gpsoftexas.com.
No one outfits golfers better than Edwin Watts Golf Shops. We've been fitting golfers since 1968. Utilizing cutting-edge fitting technology, we'll analyze your swing and our Foresight launch monitors and fit you with the perfect club, pair of shoes, the latest golf apparel, golf balls, bags, and more. So come by today for your complete custom fitting. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Great news, Slackers! Slackers Sports and Arcade Bar is now opening at noon 7 days a week at all 4 area locations. North Star, St. Mary's, Slackadochis, and the Medical Center. Slackers is the home for 7-day-a-week happy hour, now starting at noon every day. And by popular demand, Slackers brings back the signature frozen drinks. Bring a date, bring a crew, or come on down solo. Slackers Sports and Arcade Bar serves you up all your favorites and quenches your thirst 7 days a week, starting every day at noon. Visit slackersbarssa.com for more info.
If your dream vacation doesn't include your spouse, it may be time for a permanent getaway. Call divorcedude.com at 210-201-0303 and ask for Mark, the divorce dude with Polling Law PLLC. Divorcedude.com can help you get a fast, affordable, agreed divorce. But if you want to fight, the divorce dude can fight for you. Divorcedude.com gives you easy legal options and sticks with you every step of the way. If the marriage is over, why fight? Divorcedude.com.
Are you thinking about selling your car? Don't get tricked with 2-minute offers only to spend 4 hours at a dealership. I want you to check out my friends at Car Zeus. It's Rudy J here. Car Zeus is not a dealership, so you don't need to worry about shady sales tactics just to lure you in the door. I'm talking about saving you time and hassle. Simply fill out a form about your car's condition at carzeus.com, and a local agent will text you an offer during business hours. No obligation. Plus, they pay the same day and even provide a courtesy Lyft ride home. That's carzeus.com.
It's that time of year again, and all eyes are now turning to football as teams are back on the gridiron. BetOnline.net is your #1 spot for all the pro and college football odds and news this season. Get all the updated info on players, teams, and odds to help you with your new football contests, leagues, and new survivor pools. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite sports. Pro sports, MMA, championship boxing, golf, horse racing, they have it all. Bring the game home with BetOnline.net, where the game starts.
They played 162 games for a shot at this, the MLB postseason, where you're just one pitch, one hit closer to the World Championship. We've got you covered on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Jay, Will, and Zubin on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Yeah, I guess we probably got to update that, huh, Blitz? Probably delete that one from the rotator since it's no longer Zubin. It's Max Kellerman in the mornings now. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. We're out at Hero Stadium, high school football tonight. Johnson against Brandeis. Now, I've had a hell of a day. Had to get up early and go do a COVID test for the NBA, for the Spurs, so we can go to media day on Monday. And then, so, I do that, had a couple meetings, got busy doing some stuff, got over to the stadium and realized I hadn't had lunch and I was getting hungry. And our engineer, Greg Shelton, is out here, which he normally isn't. But we've had some crowd mic issues at the stadium. So we're trying to make it to where we don't sound like we're broadcasting the football games from a bathroom, right? So he's out here testing things, doing all kinds of stuff. We think we've got it fixed, but he still can't go home until the game starts, and we know it works. So he's hungry too. So he goes to get lunch, and I appreciate him going. I've worked with Greg Shelton for about 14 years. It's the first time he's ever reached for his wallet. I mean, he bought me lunch. He went to Subway. Now, here's the thing. When I was realizing I didn't get lunch, the last couple weeks I've stopped over at a Lenny's by my house and got a sandwich on the way over. And that works out pretty good because I get to the stadium stupid early, right? Like leave the house at 1:00. Well, last week, John Robbins has some bakery by his house, and he showed up with this incredible sandwich. So I thought, well, I don't want Lenny's if I can get one of those big-looking gourmet sandwiches because it just looks so good. So I texted Rob and said, hey, man, can you grab a sandwich? He said, I've already picked it up. It's from a bakery. They're out. But I got mine. So I was like, all right, cool. Shelton, he's going to go get lunch. I expected it to be a burger or something. He comes back with Subway. So I went from a middle-of-the-road type of, because I like Lenny's. Then I was thinking I was going to get this sandwich from a bakery, and that isn't happening. So I end up with Subway. But I credit Greg Shelton. I offered to pay. He said no. I'm very nervous because that's never happened in 14 years of working with him, right? So, but I've got half of my Subway sandwich that I'm going to eat here in a little bit, trying to get through it during commercial breaks. Well, Cisco Kid, who does all our video for the Facebook Live and YouTube stuff, got all his stuff set up, all his equipment for the game. and he goes to a convenience store and comes back with the crappiest looking slice of pizza and a bunless hot dog. And I swear that dog was cooked 3 days ago. Who eats convenience store lunches on a regular? Now, I heard Chris Carlin, who does, he's on between halftime and the Blitz, the old Max Kellerman slot that I guess we haven't quite figured out yet. But Chris is doing that, and he talks about loving eating at convenience stores. And I got to be desperate. Unless it's one of those burritos from Stripes. They have the best gas station burritos in the world. Who? What is Allsup's? Where is an Allsup's? We're not up north. We're in San Antonio. I mean, no. You got to try those. And nothing like a radio pro trying to talk without a microphone and with his mouth full with the worst looking pizza I've ever seen. I mean, it is going to be a long night in this very small room. I'm just saying masks are going to be multi-purpose tonight during the broadcast. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star. You actually saw that and said, yeah, all right, that looks good. Here's my $8. Oh, what do you? Oh, you're trying to show a picture to our video audience? Even James Pledger wouldn't eat that. Look at that. You're getting grease all over my computer,
man. It's a lie. I'd eat it.
Oh, my God.
I'd eat almost anything.
You would, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. James would eat that. He would scarf that up. That just looks unappetizing. I think I'd lose weight if that had to be my dinner. Although as hungry as I am right now, I still wouldn't eat that piece of pizza. I would not. It's going to be a long night in the booth. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Coming up, Mike McCarthy from R&R in the morning will get you set for all the games happening this weekend here on San Antonio Sports Star. If you're going in to buy a vehicle this weekend, doing some car shopping, no better place to go than to see my friends over at Ancira Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram Truck, part of the Ancira Auto Complex. Very easy for me to tell you about and recommend Ancira because I am a longtime Ancira customer. Through the years, I have bought many vehicles from Ancira, and it's because of their great customer service before, during, and most importantly, after the sale. They're going to make sure you're getting the vehicle you want with all the options and features that you're looking for. They'll give you great value on your trade-in, the best rebates and financing options that are available, and of course, that service after the sale is second to none. You know price made Ancira number one. Price keeps Ancira number one. So think Ancira. And if you get a new vehicle in September, not only are you going to get a great vehicle, you'll get a couple of tickets to a UTSA Roadrunner football game. So go see them at Ancira Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram Truck, part of the Ancira Auto Complex on I-10 West between Wurzbach and Huebner.
The college football tradition lives here with in-depth analysis and breakdowns from our team during the week of the Aggies, the Longhorns, UTSA, and more. Catch the gridiron action on Saturdays with live play-by-play from around the country. Bowl season. The college football playoff and the national championship comes to life right here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Hey, Cowboy fans, Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys and San Antonio Sports Star. We're throwing a big watch party for the Monday night game between the Cowboys and Eagles at I-10 Ice House. We'll start with a live broadcast of the Blitz starting at 4, and then watch the Cowboys take on the Eagles. Hourly drawings from 4 to 7 to win Cowboy game tickets, a Miller Lite Cowboys OtterBox cooler, Drew Pearson Hall of Fame standee, and other great prizes. And enjoy Miller Lite and long necks during the game for just $2.08. That's Monday at 4 at the I-10 Ice House.
If you think vaccines alone will protect you from COVID-19, think again. More breakthrough cases of COVID variants show that vaccinated people are still vulnerable to the deadly disease. To be safe, monitor regularly for fever, as it's the leading sign of COVID-19. Use Exergen, the only thermometer scientifically proven to detect fever. And beware of non-contact devices that miss 5 out of 6 fevers. Remember, vaccines are not enough. So protect yourself and your family with the Exergen temporal scanner. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Rudy J here, and I want to tell you about Manrique Custom Vision. Dr. Manrique has performed over 58,000 laser vision corrections, and he's the only Z-LASIK trainer in the area. He treats nearsightedness, farsightedness, and even astigmatism. And all procedures are blade-free and pain-free, and they just take seconds per eye. Get the vision you deserve without glasses and contacts. Call 354-2020 today to get the Manrique difference. Don't compromise your only set of eyes. Call 354-2020 today.
What's stopping you from getting the original Peloton bike? I need flexibility with my workouts. Choose from thousands of classes available 24/7. It's hard for me to stay motivated. Programs, artist series, and badges keep you reaching new goals.
45-minute bike boot camp, 30-minute hit ride.
My 45-minute hip-hop ride.
You get all that? For how much? The original Peloton bike is now at its best price ever. Get game-changing cardio at a new game-changing price. The original Peloton bike, now $400 less. Learn more at onepeloton.com.
If you're thinking about a compact tractor and you want the best, you can afford a Kubota. Hi, I'm John Ewald with Ewald Kubota. Come into one of our 10 locations and check out the Kubota L2501 tractor package deal, which includes a 4-wheel drive tractor with a hydrostatic transmission, a front loader, a rear mower, a box blade, and a trailer, all for one low price. With a deal this good, you can afford a Kubota from Ewald Kubota. Check out our package deals at ewaldkubota.com.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 and Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
At CDW, we get that a cyborg assistant won't make your employees more productive from home.
Please, call me Brian. I can vacuum your dog.
That's great. But at CDW, we can design a productivity solution with Lenovo devices that offer fast, reliable connectivity to help your people manage their workloads the right way.
Can I have a human hug?
No. For technology that moves you forward, trust Lenovo and IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it. Learn more at cdw.com/Lenovo Client.
Live, local, loud. KZDC, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, The Blitz.
It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. We got some high school football coming up. At 6:30, we'll get you started with the pregame show. Kickoff at 7. We'll have Johnson and Brandeis tonight in a great district matchup between a couple of undefeated teams. Rudy J has made it in. Rudy J ready to do the game in place of Kevin Brock, who's just got engaged on a cruise, so he's on his way back from that. Yeah, grab the. You didn't know that? I guess you wouldn't have known that. But yeah, he went on a cruise with a plan. There was a plan and a purpose for Kevin Brock. So we'll let him have that night off.
So is he going to need another week off to celebrate?
Not for a while, man. He might not take off more time, man. He's got to pay for a ring and a cruise.
Real.
Yeah, you're on. Is your headphones not working?
There we go.
Yeah, there you go. So Rudy, you've been working with us now how long?
Where? Oh, at the station?
Yeah.
2 months.
So you 2 months in and finally missed your first Friday morning. Because there were some bets on how long it was going to take you to.
That wasn't my fault.
Yeah. Well, it's never my fault. Never. Never your fault. Close contact. Everything is good.
Everything's good.
And that's the world that we live in now.
Yeah. I wanted to make sure.
Well, that's it. If you're around somebody and you think or they do, and in this case it was negative, it was a scare, but we all take the precautions.
Yeah. No, my wife woke up with allergies and freaked out. And so we sent her to the clinic.
Hey,
she's like, it's anything like you could cough wrong, you sneeze wrong, you're like, I got it. I got to go to the doctor.
Well, that's it. I mean,
can't smell.
Yeah.
It is one of those things now where it is, I think, more proper to fart in public than it is to sneeze. If you sneeze in public now, everybody looks at you weird, like you've committed a crime.
Yeah. It's bad.
So, but I mean, you got to take the precautions. Not, it happens on a Friday morning.
But of course, But I wouldn't want to miss Mike.
Well, see there was some debate because in the coach's world, and we used to have to deal with this all the time with Jason Garrett.
Okay.
That they change their days of the week depending on what day they're playing. So because they don't play Sunday, they play Monday night. In Mike McCarthy's world,
like
today is their Thursday. So I had to actually confirm with them, is he going to call in on Friday? Because ain't nobody going to be there Saturday morning. So, I mean, is he? So we in his world, and even Rob, when he started the interview, just wanted to make sure Mike McCarthy knew what day of the week it was.
I heard Rob say.
Yeah, today's Thursday, workload day for us on our weekly schedule. Yeah,
so
we just bumped everything back a day.
So Saturday be fast and furious. That'll be the run through. We'll get a better idea about how all those injuries are going. And we heard yesterday, Coach, your update with everybody. I know that it hadn't been that long. Any positive news to report after yesterday afternoon as far as those that might have been out anyway?
Amari practiced, so that was positive, and the other guys are, seeing them in their weight room work and so forth. They're still in the rehab, so yeah, everybody's getting better. But I thought Amari looked good yesterday.
That's good news. A rib issue there, correct?
Correct, yes.
Coach Mike McCarthy joining us here on San Antonio Sports Star, brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds, as he joins us every week, only outside of out of Dallas, right here. Coach, a couple questions about your defense. The turnovers, man, we know that we talk about it more this year, but this has been a trend that began last season. I'm curious, Coach, when you look at your defense and how they're getting the turnovers, is it about attitude or skill, and which would you choose? What's the more important trait here about pulling the turnovers that you've gotten?
Well, I would take attitude over skill,
right.
But I think you're seeing a combination of both, and just got to give our players a tremendous amount of credit. And, it's only going to get harder because teams will obviously recognize it that the trend is intact here now, and it's really the commitment from the staff and the players on the team fundamentals and really on both sides too, because for as good as our defense is, it's making our offense better, because that was clearly not a strength of ours last year, protecting the football. So it's just like anything in coaching and training. Football team, you have so much time on the field, and how you spend your time, and it's just a reflection of the emphasis of our team fundamentals. And we're off to an excellent start this year, taking that ball away.
It's a lot of fun to watch, and it's certainly a product of a plan, and that goes all the way to your practice squad guys you bring in, attitudes that they've got, and I think it's reflected in Jaron Curse. First of all, he's huge at safety, but boy, did you find something?
Him, man. That was not a lot of complaining about officiating, but my God, that was he couldn't have played that any better. That was a big time interception he had.
Well, everything that he's done, what a pleasant surprise he's been, considering the situation that he was thrust into with the injuries that you guys are dealing there on the backside of the defense.
Oh, definitely. No, he's been a big time player for us in the first 2 weeks, and it just gives us great matchup ability. Particularly with some of these bigger tight ends that are coming down the road, and it's just the way he tracks that football, and also he's played very well on special teams too. So he's been a great addition for us.
You find a 6'4" safety, you mold and take care of that. That's an impressive thing to watch. Coach Mike McCarthy joining us here on San Antonio Sports Star, our weekly update in preparation for a big Monday night game against a parentheses rival. Ask Coach Sirianni by his shirt. Now, Coach, I'm curious about the offensive output you guys have shown, and Kellen Moore's calling in preparation for a game. You're an OC at heart. I mean, the maturation and the process of becoming a beginning, a new newbie OC, and then the growth. Tell us about your process and what you've seen in Kellen Moore, because I think by every measure, you guys have put together really remarkably good game plans. And, it's one thing to have a plan, another one to follow through with it after you get punched in the face, as Mike Tyson will say. But it has been impressive so far. Speak to Kellen Moore's growth or what you see in him this year.
Well, I think Kellen does an excellent job. I love the way, he puts together the plan, with the staff. I think you're seeing, the year two, process of the staff and the connection that they have, having a full off season to, go back through the things that we went through last year, and, just the growth of, the quarterback room and the connection that the play caller has to have, with Dak. And so, I think he's off to an excellent start. I've been very, very pleased with the way Kellen operates.
In your growth through coaching, certainly mentors mean a lot, and having those guys to kind of mirror. what was the progress for you? What was the difference between your first or second year into your third year to where you really began to feel like, hey, I've got control of all this? What are the things you have to learn?
Well, the first thing is, you got to get total control of the language and really the adjustments and be proactive with it. That's the biggest thing in coordinating. And you really got to guard against, too much volume. And it's no different from my approach with him. One thing I really came away with in the year out was, when you look at the coordinators, particularly in the case of being a head coach and you still call it, if you're going to call it, you need to install it. So just to make sure that he has, total comfort and belief in what we're doing each week, because, at the end of the day, when you get out there on Sundays or Monday nights, you got to believe in every call, and it's got to fit. It can't be somebody else's. You're doing it for somebody else, and so forth. And I think Kellen is really in tune with what he believes and what he wants to do. Because it's an excellent offensive staff, and all guys have really good ideas, but you can't do everything. That's when it gets diluted, and you just really got to guard against too much. And I think he's done an excellent job of just fine tuning exactly what he believes in each week, because he's calling it. So and he has to have total belief in each call, and more importantly, it's got to be connected to Dak. And I think that they both have come to the means at the end of the week, and we've had two excellent game plans, and more importantly, we were able to execute it.
Absolutely. Coach Mike McCarthy right here on San Antonio Sports Star, brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds every week. Coach, looking at Philly, and much is going to be made of the shirt that Sirianni's had on. Big deal. But the fact is, it is a district or a conference game, and familiarity brings contempt. And the Eagles, this is a little bit different type of team than you've played the first two. A little bit bigger offensive line, a little bit more of a mobile type quarterback. And prep for that, and you look at what Coach Quinn has had to deal with his revolving door on the defensive line. How do you approach this kind of quarterback? And certainly I don't want to scheme, but this is the growing thing. You're going to have quarterbacks that want to run a little bit and get a little bit more movement to the edges. Getting ready for this against this offensive line with the different types. Speak to Dan Quinn and what you do against these modern quarterbacks that will just as quickly head around the edge as they will pass it to the corner.
Well, you just look the way the personnel's laid out. This offense is about space and speed, and they got tremendous ability and speed in the perimeter, and they got a massive offensive line that can move. So this is a huge challenge. It's definitely different than the first two offenses we competed against. So, the how we play and what we do is important, but most importantly, we got to keep this team in check because there's a lot of ability there to make big plays. So, and the offensive line is relatively healthy. Brooks is out, but it's a big athletic offensive line, and they've done a really good job of creating this college style offense. But it's the space and the speed. And their ability to make plays with the ball has been impressive.
I like that term, college style offense. I'm not sure how that equates anymore. I see the same offense Friday night here in high school all the way to Sunday afternoon. Mike McCarthy. We're a little bit more forward thinking.
Like college.
Very true. We're going to have a Friday night light game tonight. Probably have 15,000 people watching it down here in San Antonio. He is Mike McCarthy, head football coach of the Dallas Cowboys, right here on San Antonio Sports Star. We talk about the things you've had to deal with real quickly. Your emphasis on how the practice squad is used has to have altered over the last 2 years. Do you have extra hours devoted to that now? Because we know next man up and guys could be gone at the drop of a hat or at the drop of a test. How are you handling the practice squad in preparation for this season? Because it has to be very different from what you've dealt with maybe even just 2 years ago.
Well, I'll say this. I love the new roster structure. That's probably one of the positives that have come out of the pandemic. So the ability to have this many players on campus has been awesome. I'm all for it. I hope they keep it this way moving forward. We're trying to, we coach everybody the same way. So, it's not that, this category of player gets coached one way and versus the other. So, even all four quarterbacks, if you were at the quarterback school, you see all four guys taking reps. And so we continue to always try to develop the young player. That's something I've always done. My past is, in Green Bay, we were always the youngest team in the league. I think we're, here in Dallas, we're the third youngest team in the league right now. So, draft and develop the process of it is something I'm very familiar with. So you got to continue to always develop those guys. Today at the end of practice, we're going to have a young guys period just so they get some live reps. So it's a big part of how we work here.
Coach Mike McCarthy right here on San Antonio Sports Star. First of all, I want to apologize for not having breakfast for you this morning. Nora co-host, when there was a clip that we saw in Hard Knocks, you guys standing on the field, and you get word that Coach Quinn's not going to be available to you. Well, we kind of got that this morning and last night. So as we got contact traced, your tacos will be there next week. I want to apologize for not having breakfast with us this morning. We appreciate you stopping by, Coach. Congratulations on a spectacular beginning of the season. We're looking forward to a good game on Monday night. We'll talk to you next Friday.
Well, thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
That was Mike McCarthy on the R&R this morning, brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Now, you didn't hear Rudy J as a part of that conversation, but Rudy J's in the booth with us now. Now, Rudy didn't have your headphones on, but Rudy, did you hear? Did you hear? You got to turn your microphone on.
I listened at home.
You're such a rookie.
Dude, I thought you hooked me up.
Well, no, we turn it off when we're not talking. We turn it on when we talk. I mean, it's kind of like, a sink, when you need water, you turn it off. You just don't leave it running all the time, right? There's things that might be talked about when the microphone is off.
You got me.
Yeah. Well, did you hear Rob just throw you under the bus for forgetting to send tacos to the man?
He did me? I didn't even catch that part. He said it was my fault?
Kinda.
What did he say?
He Pledge, back me up on this. I don't know if you have the ability. I know you have the ability if it's set up where you're able to do it. But apparently we didn't send Mike McCarthy tacos after a win. We've sent him tacos after a loss, which is a no-no. But we didn't get the tacos delivered today. I'm a little disappointed in Jonathan, the taco guy, for just not doing it on his own, because that's his that's his thrill of the week.
Yeah, I don't know what did Rob say about me?
Well, here you go. Maybe
not.
Maybe.
Nora
radio.
co-host, when there was a clip that we saw in Hard Knocks, you guys standing on the field, and you get word that Coach Quinn's not going to be available to you. Well, we kind of got that this morning and last night. So as we got contact traced, your tacos will be there next week. I want to apologize for not having breakfast with us this morning. We appreciate you stopping by, Coach. Congratulations on
it's all your fault, Rudy.
It's all Rudy's fault, man. Yeah, let's throw the new guy under the bus. Rob forgot to order the tacos.
So he says because I got contact traced,
he forgot.
That they forgot the tacos.
Yeah.
Wow. And the thing, I just brought that dude tacos last week. Rob. Wow. We're going to talk about that on the show Monday.
I mean,
we're going to talk about that Monday.
I didn't know.
When you do that, don't forget the tacos for Justin Robinson, apparently.
First of all, I thought that Rob puts that order in on Thursday.
Well, when did you find out that you were contact traced? This morning.
Yeah, like when I got up, when my alarm went off.
All right, but again, it should have been done yesterday.
Right.
See, Rob forgot to do it yesterday.
I was like,
and it threw you under the bus today. Because, by the time he found out that you weren't coming to work, that taco order was already not in and wasn't going to get there.
I was like, what? I can't believe my guy did that. And I always catch Rob's back. I got to talk about that on Monday. What the hell, man? But you know what? He told me this morning, he was like, it's your call. And then I was like, you know what? Even though in my deep down, I knew she didn't have COVID, but I was like, if the 1% chance, I would feel like a total creep if she did. You know what I mean? So I was like, better safe than sorry.
It is all better safe than sorry. And quite frankly,
even though we're all vaccinated, still just nobody wants to deal with that.
No, and again, with the vaccination, we know
you can still get
that. You can still get it. It's like I had to get COVID tested this morning to be able to go to Spurs Media Day on Monday. So we had to send in our cards. Yep, we're vaccinated, but still, and the way the Spurs did it, we went over to the facility and their people tested you. It's not like you could go to CVS.
So am I not going to be able to go to Spurs Media Day?
You cannot.
Why not? When did y'all find this out?
Yesterday.
How? Who?
What do you mean how? Who? Yeah, you can't go. It's at 9:00 in the morning on Monday. You're on the air.
So it's in person?
It's in person. and only one person is allowed to go per outlet. Limited numbers, but
so who's going?
Me.
What are you going to do that's going to benefit the station?
I don't know, boss. I am nothing.
You better get some liners. So time out. I'm going to tell you right now, Carl hates you. You know he loves the Spurs. He hates the fact that it's you getting to go. He won't tell you that because he's a great kid. But he hates
14 years versus 2 weeks. I think I win.
So only one person
only one person is able to go. No one-on-one interviews. Everything's going to be group. But you know, Carl will be there. I'm guessing his dad will get to go.
Think?
But again, though, if they were doing it at 5:00 at night, then I wouldn't be able to go because I'm on the air.
I didn't know this. 9 in the morning. Since when did they do it at 9?
Dude, who knows? I mean,
I'm kind of hurt.
It's all.
I was looking forward to.
Well, it used to be like at 11. All right?
That's what I'm saying. And I was afternoon.
I mean, because I don't
would see you.
I don't like to have to be anywhere.
You don't. You just want to be at home.
No, I don't. I don't want to go anywhere early. I mean, unless I'm catching a flight, I don't want my alarm going off early, right? I mean, I
texted you pretty early today, but that's because I was like, yo, I need you to find a backup.
Oh, I did. And by the way, hats off to Richard Oliver.
Richard was ready.
Richard was ready, just in case. I mean, I put somebody on standby because. You know, I'm not going to wait till last minute.
Let me apologize to San Antonio. Y'all could have had Richard. Instead, y'all got me. Sorry, I didn't test positive. San Antonio.
On our Facebook Live. Hey, come over here and see if you could read this, since this is about you. I just
let me see.
Show your mug on the screen. You can move
Rudy
that.
J, bro, these videos and pics of your surgery were insane. That clamp on your eye had me cringing.
Well, all right, but here's the thing. You just read that with no problem. Boom.
Oh, I'm perfect.
Boom.
I'm perfect.
Boom.
No, and as far as Dr. Enrique goes, when he did that, Joe, my whole body froze, like tensed up, like Sub-Zero had hit me, and he sensed it. And he starts talking to me about fantasy football. He's like, hey, you play fantasy football? Because he could tell I was about to have a panic attack.
Yeah.
Because,
I mean, because you're
weird.
sitting there and you're looking at the red light, you're waiting for it to turn green, and then zzz, and then you're done.
Next thing you know, I'm like, because there was never pain, but the pressure from the suction cup is like pressure, and then it's
your eyes. It's nerve-wracking. It's easy.
And then your head is underneath, and then there's 4 people in there, and they're saying weird terms that I don't know what they mean. 36 streets for clear, and you're like, what?
Yeah, no, don't try to figure it out. Just make sure it's the right numbers. That's all you got to worry about, man.
I went to my follow-up yesterday. They said I'm 20/20. I got my drops with me.
Yeah,
we're good to go.
We're gonna stay on your drops.
Yeah, Jason texted me out the blue, y'all. Like, hey, bring out your.
I've been through it.
He was like, hey, use your drops. I was like, okay, I got 2 of them with me.
Right, there you go.
So,
pro tip, man, put those in the cooler. They're much better when they're cold.
No, I had.
They're much better now. You pull those out of the pocket, man. That's hot water in your eyes, man. You don't want that, man. Put those things in a cooler.
Did you talk to both coaches this week?
I did.
Oh yeah, I called you in the middle of one.
You did. We're gonna hear those coming up on the pregame show whenever Pledge counts us down in 10. 9. We're gonna start the pregame show. Johnson and Brandeis in about 4 minutes. Keep it locked right here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
When it comes to social distancing, if 6 feet is not enough with your spouse, it's probably time to change your status. Call DivorceDude.com at 210-201